Okay, guys, good morning. Familiar faces. Names will have to come back, right? I'll have to learn your names again, so bear with me. Yes, I asked your name. I know all my faces. A couple of you are new, but otherwise, all my math students, right? So hopefully, it will all come back. Okay, so that means you were on a co-op semester this past. Okay, how did it go? Everybody had a co-op? Almost? Yeah, good. And how was it? Good experience? Yeah, learned something? Good. Not really. Depends where you were, right? Really depends where you were. How many of you went into programming, like pure programming, like Java? Not bad. And then what about web? Okay, good. So you had a good experience in terms of what you learned, most probably helped, and what you've learned there you can bring back, right? So anytime you have questions, ask. Anything that you've done in your co-op and you would like to know a little more about it, ask, and I'll help out if I can answer. Okay. So what you have with me this semester is not as easy as math. We are going to do, but very easy. It's not as tough as Java, believe me, right? So if you're good at Java, this should just be an eye wash. So what we are going to do is we are going to do rapid application development. And as the name suggests, something to be done rapidly, quickly, right? So applications are created like one per week is how we will go. So I'll try to create an application one per week. And the language that you can use is either Visual Basic or C#. These two languages are good for rapid application development. So I'll use C#. So we used to do Visual Basic a few years back. I think 4 years now or 3 years now, we've switched to C#. Any particular reason? No, not necessarily, but C# seem to be more used rather than Visual Basic. But they're very similar in the sense of how you work with them. Of course, you know, language is a language. Once you have that logic sense in your head and you can lay out how things have to be done, all you need is a language. So some new features, what should I do? How is it done? So if you're doing C# with me, I'm almost positive if you're given a Visual Basic application to build, you can do it very quickly. It's not a big rocket science at all, right? So the IDE we'll be using is Visual Studio 2017 is the newest one. You can still use Visual Studio 2015 if you have it on your laptops. That's what was used last year, but I noticed that 2017 came, and so that's the new one that I have installed. I'm still going to use the previous book. I'll show you my syllabus and we'll go through it because very minor changes have occurred. The IDE has improved a little, and there is a very minor change in the C# itself as you use it on 2017. Right. So I'll walk you through my Blackboard, very quickly walk you through the Blackboard. I'm hoping that since this announcement was put on September 4th and it is 7 today, all of you have Visual Studio 2017 already installed on your laptops, right? It took a little while. I wasn't expecting 2015 didn't take time at all, I remember, but this one took a little while. So if you've kind of installed it, good. We'll be using it hopefully today in the last hour of the class. And if you haven't installed it, please see that you have it installed next week for sure. The course will need you to do in-class assignments like you did in your math course also, right? But this in-class assignments will be all hands-on. So I'll teach something and then I'll tell you to reinforce that teaching that I've done by showing that you can do it. So there'll be small assignments, hopefully done, completed in class, marked in class and over and done with. If time is short, I'll think about it and give you extra time. It depends. But the aim is, and it has been done for the last couple of years, I've been kind of practicing this and it works well. That way students listen in class because they know an assignment will come, you know, like that's how we make students listen. And then they do it right in class. So that if there are any questions or anything that they weren't listening when I was talking, you can ask me. Okay, but they're all individual assignments. So if you're going to sit with your friends and you can't resist talking to them or looking on their laptops, move, right? It is entirely independent assignments. So you have to work independently on them. So change your seats if you think you can't sit with somebody and you can't stop talking. I know a few of you did talk a lot. We were allowed to do that in math class. Assignments had to be done in groups, but there is no group assignment till I say it is a group assignment. So all assignments are individual assignments. They're trying to test your capability in C#. Right. Also, I will be and I am also recording my lessons on YouTube. Right. So every time I will be recording my lessons on YouTube for both my sections. So I'm going to teach two sections. One today, better time, 11 to 2. And the other one is, I think, on Tuesday from 2 to 5. So if for whatever reason you think you cannot attend your section for some unavoidable important reason, then let me know beforehand. You can come to the other section and you can do your assignment. So that's possible, right? And that section will be running behind you because Tuesday we did not have any classes. So you have that advantage that you can take up the Tuesday class in case there is something really urgent and you cannot attend a class. The Blackboard is common for both sections. So please remember you are the Thursday section and the other section is Tuesday. So if a note comes up, if an announcement comes up and it's for everybody, then it's good. But if it is only for one section, then it will say the section number. So keep in mind that you are the Thursday section because there are two sections that are running. So lessons will be recorded. And again, you can go over those lessons afterwards if you like. All code that I'll be doing in class will be put on GitHub. So all of you are familiar with GitHub, right? So I'll just put them there. I'll try to remember to put proper names like mention your codes. And that's what I've done on YouTube also. You can go and find me by my name. And I'm going to place all the videos under your code, like COMP1004-F2017 So that will help you to find them, right? So I've created a playlist by that name, and all your videos should automatically go into that playlist. So that way you have, if you want to, you have that option of going through the class again and looking at it, right? In case you doze off in class. 3 hours is not a short time. But since this is quite active, you're going to do as I do, whatever I do in class. If you want to just follow and watch, it's up to you. If you want to do it with me, you're most welcome to do it with me, right? That way you are kind of practicing as I am teaching. So every week I'll do something new, right? Definitely I'll do something new. I'll do a small example on that something new, and I'll do a hands-on. So I'm not only talking, right? So it's not just listening, it's doing with me. So if you can keep up with my speed and you would prefer to listen and do it yourself afterwards, entirely up to you. If you want to do it with me, then just do it with me. And it's not tough, believe me. Rapid application development, it's all GUI stuff. Things are happening behind the scene, but as programmers, you should understand what's happening so that you can change it whatever and however you want. So I'll try to kind of also show you this is where these things are going magically, but this is how you should know how to do stuff. So this will be on Blackboard. And as I said, you should just look for your code, COMP1004, the subject code, F2017, and then Thursday. And usually the lessons will be the same, almost, right? Questions asked by different students in different sections is something that will be different, but I'll definitely try to keep at par in both my sections. Okay, so that's for you if you're interested. So I'll quickly walk you through my Blackboard, and the basic requirement is that you be physically present in class to do your in-class assignments. You can always talk to me beforehand if things need to be changed, right? You cannot attend a class, you have that option. But otherwise, if you're in class, you do your assignment, even if there is an extension till midnight, but you have to be physically in class to do the in-class assignments. And there'll be short, and depending upon what I'm teaching on that particular day, they'll be related to what I'm teaching. Something a little bit new that you will have to maybe research, which you can do, I'm sure, on the web. Just a small tricky thing, or add this, and then you go and look for it. Okay. Hopefully you will be comfortable. How many of you were comfortable with Java? Not bad, right? So I'm hoping that you should be okay with C#. I know Java is a tough language. It's not easy. It takes a while, right? It takes a while. Sometimes 1 semester, sometimes 2. But then I think after the 2nd semester, you should be okay with it, at least okay with it. Okay. And it is a tough language. I think it's the most tough language in your whole course, because that's the language that we kind of build upon from your programming fundamentals to your intro and then to advanced that you will be doing this semester. Right? So C#, the only course, this is the only course on rapid application development. This is the only course on C#. So I'm trying to build from scratch, but I'm assuming and hoping that you have your object-oriented programming principles behind your mind. And when I talk about class and object and methods, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm assuming you have that behind your back, that experience. Okay, so as I said, welcome back. Let's hope we can fly through this semester. You all do well. It's a course that you can very easily, really, you can go into your 80s if you keep up to date with it, right? So if you keep up to date, you do your assignments, you attend classes, you should be good. Okay. And if time does not permit for whatever reasons, then those assignments will become take-home assignments. But it worked very well For the last couple of semesters, I've been trying to kind of do it, and the feedback is quick and easy. Questions can be asked, but if an assignment is big or whatever, then I'll of course make it a take-home assignment, and you'll get some time to do. Okay, but assuming if we can do 1.5 or 2 hours in class, and then I say just reproduce this now again for me, you should be able to do it in an hour. Okay, so let's see how it goes. It's kind of flexible, but that's the idea right now. The course information is available on the web, right? Your course outlines are available on the web, of course. And as I said, there are no prerequisites. This is your first course in C#. This is the only course that you do in rapid application development. And the aim here is to basically create applications rapidly using GUI and create Windows forms. So we are going to create forms in this course. So there are many ways you could work with the language, right? So this course is about creating GUI. So you're basically working with GUI and not the language as you do in Java necessarily. Okay, so that's the aim. The course is called Rapid Application Development, right? So that's what I'll be aiming for. So it doesn't have any prereqs since it's your first course. This equivalent is very old. It was called Intro to VB Programming ages back, I think. But the equivalents are just put so that if a student comes back after years to complete his or her course, we can give them their PLA or whatever, right? The description is simple. It says, of course, I'm going to introduce you to programming techniques that are supported by visual, right? That are supported by visual rapid application development. So my aim is that. That's what I'm aiming at. So it will be a different kind of flavor from what you've done in Java. Mostly, I don't know. I'm only comparing it with how I teach Java. So such as Visual Basic is mentioned, but again, as I said, we used to do Visual Basic. We have switched to C# for the last 3 or 4 years. So you'll learn how to create forms. They're just called forms. So there are 2 ways you can actually, there are 4 actually. You can do GUI you can create in C#. You can create web applications and you can create Windows application, desktop applications. We are working with desktop applications. Okay, so all our work will be desktop applications. We are not creating web pages using C#. That's not this course. And under Windows, there are 2 flavors. You can create Windows form applications, and you can also create WPFs, as they are called. Something foundation. I keep forgetting. I just remember WPF. So again, I'm aiming at Windows forms application. The WPFs are more enriched in their GUI than Windows forms, and it uses XAML, right? You know XML. This is called XAML. XAML, I think, for short or whatever. So it uses that instead of how we code in here in Windows Form. But again, as I say, if you know how to do Windows Forms application, I think very quickly you will learn how to do WPFs also. Okay, so we'll stick to Windows Forms.
Do we do like model view controller?
Yeah, yes. Like the way we build it is automatically doing the MVC, but WPF is more anchored to that, right? WPF is more anchored to that rather than Windows Forms. But Windows Forms are still popular. You will still see them around until we find or think, oh, you know what? I think Windows Form is kind of dying. We will switch on to WPF. But for now, we are okay. From what I see, we are okay now. So I don't know. We don't ever get time to do both. So I'll stick to my Windows Forms. But again, as I said, WPF is more enriched. You can use animations and so on. It is more enriched in its GUI. Plus, it also uses XML, which is more popular, I could say. And then it uses the MVC model as per se, like on the front end. Here, you're kind of using it, but you're using it like not straight up front, but you know that's how it is working. So I'll mention it. Okay, so when I say, oh, this is the model, this is the view, this is the controller, I'll tell you what it is. But WPF is more geared towards the MVC model. So we'll do how to create forms, controls, your own classes and objects, right? So we will be using, to start with, we'll be using classes that are already available in the library. Like in Java, you have so many classes. And in Java, you learn 2 things. You learn how to use the classes from the library, and you write your own classes. Same concept here. Here, the emphasis is more on using the library classes. But of course, in the long run, maybe a couple of weeks, I'll also give to creating your own classes and your own objects. But again, as I said, that's not what this course is about. This course is more using and creating forms and using classes from the library, right? But I will introduce you to how you create your own classes and own methods and own objects and so on. But again, as I said, this is more geared towards the other using classes rather than creating your own classes. Um, Graphical user interface is the main emphasis here. It's all about graphical user interface here. And of course, as I said, it's not the end, it's the beginning. If you know how to do stuff with one, you can always take that knowledge and spread it and use other software, right? This is an easy course in the sense that it's not like you can very quickly gauge it and conquer it. And if you practice a little, maybe 3 hours outside class, you should be good, right? You should be good to kind of say, oh, I know what's going on. So you shouldn't be lost in it. So the learning outcomes: use predefined objects to create or modify an application. That will be your main emphasis. Create new objects and classes to represent entities from a problem domain. That means create your own classes. That is second one. Employ graphical elements and event handling. And basically there are 3 things you'll have to learn. You'll have to learn, you'll see that C# is an object-oriented language, of course, but it is also has the flavor of event-driven inside it. So you will see it as an object-oriented programming language, plus you will see it also as an event-driven language. And an event-driven simply means that it responds to something that the user does. So like you do on any interactive application, you click a button or you enter and you say, you make a mistake, things like that. It's interactive. And that's why it's event-driven, because an event occurs, something happens when you do something on your form, right? So you click a button or you enter text in a text box, or you check a radio button, or you check a checkbox, or you select a radio button. So these are events happen. So what happens is what we are going to code also. Okay, so it's also an event driven. So it is definitely an object oriented programming language, C# is, and it is kind of a mixture of definitely Java and C++ also. I'm not a big fan of C++ because it was kind of imposed on C, and therefore it's kind of a little clunky. But anyway, but that's the combination. So as I said, if you know Java, it should be easy. It should be easy. And anyway, the emphasis here is visual. So most of you are visual learners. So it's easy to grasp things quickly rather than just think about them. Thinking in head is a little difficult. What did you use for your intro to object-oriented course, the Java course? Eclipse or NetBeans? NetBeans. And who taught you?
Yeah.
Good. So you have good experience, right? So I know he does a lot of GUI and stuff, right? And NetBeans is what he uses, and I do. So at least we are talking on the same level. So hopefully you'll be able to get this very quickly.
And I was also in your course.
Oh yes, you were. Thanks, Bradley. Okay, and then employ graphical elements, which is all about what the course is about, and define objects that interact in a useful way in database application. So we will be working towards the end of the course also with database applications. Nothing works without databases. We all know that, right? Data is data, and data is most important. You will be working with small data elements, you will be working with files, you will be working with arrays and array lists and so on. But at the end of the day, databases is where you kind of get to at the end of the day. And you'll do that also in your advanced Java. You will be interacting with databases using Java also. So you can kind of compare and learn from each other, the languages, but this is more GUI, right? I don't know how Jared is going to do the advanced. I'll talk to him and just get an idea so that at least we're talking the same. So I know he's done that. I can add something to it, or vice versa. Okay, so the course content, the environment, Visual Studio is the environment you are using. It's not free, of course. The community edition is free, but it is available on your DreamSpark account, right? And that is, I've kind of mentioned it here. So all of you have this Microsoft Imagine, now it is called, it was called DreamSpark. All of you have this account. If not, I've given you Greg Smith's email. You can email him and kind of ask for it. So you will look for Visual Studio if you haven't done it yet. 2017 is what we are looking for, right? And you will notice there is a community edition. There is also an enterprise edition for sure, maybe because I'm not logged in or something, but there is an enterprise edition also that is available, right? So you can go with community. It's not a big deal, and it's free anyway. You don't have even to come here and do it, but why not take the enterprise edition? Because that's the ultimate. Yes.
So I have the community edition, but not with the profile.
I will be using the enterprise edition because it's free for us. Why not work with the best is my thinking.
Yeah, but the point is I have Visual Studio 2017, so I should be able to follow
That's up to you. I leave it to you, right? I don't know what will work and what will not work because I'll be using the community edition. So I've downloaded that and that's the edition I'll be using. Right, so it is a little different. If you've worked with Visual Studio before, I'm not sure how many of you have worked with Visual Studio, an older version. You'll see there's a little bit of difference in how it was set up. It's now you can only take what you want. So it comes in flavors. You can only take Windows, and it's also available for Mac. Now, I'm not a Mac user. I haven't even tested it in the sense. I haven't even installed it anywhere and tested it. Anybody Mac user here? Okay, so I won't know, but I'm not. But that's what was new also in 2017. They introduced a Mac version.
Yeah, I'm running parallels.
Okay, so you're running a virtual machine in Windows? Okay, yeah. So that's what students used to do till now. They had a virtual machine running, Windows virtual machine, and there is where they would download. It was a little slow, but like things have changed now, right? Hardware is way up now. But there is a Mac version. I noticed it was, and that's what they said when 2017 came out. And it is also available on this site, on our site. But again, I have no clue how it works or how it is installed or whatever. I didn't test it. I don't have a Mac. So go ahead, download it. And I've requested that you download the Windows options because that's what we'll be working with. So that's what I did. And as and when if we need something, we can always go back and get new elements. So if we need something extra in databases, we'll go there. I'll show you where it is. I'm sure if you've installed it, you've seen it. So that's what I've installed for now. I've installed the 3 components that were under the Windows one, right? So again, this is where it is available. All of you have an account. Download the enterprise one. I think enterprise and community both are available. Download the enterprise one and go ahead and use it. Okay, so let's come back here, right? So that's where it is. And I've said, please ensure that you download the Windows here. Please install the 3 components under Windows. That's what I did. I'm new to 2017 myself, so it has changed from 2015. In 2015, everything got installed, and then you had to go and search for plugins if required. So I'm sure here we'll have to do, when the time comes, and we are still away from databases, if something that doesn't work, we'll just have to install something. But for now, at least till the reading week, I think we are good. We don't need anything extra than what I've tested, right? And again, you can't test everything for 14 weeks, but I'm kind of 3-4 weeks I've tested what I need, and it all looks good to me. Okay, so that information is available here. Let's come back to where we were. So basically, as I said, we'll do the grammar, the language, the data types. And again, I'll quickly skim through them. I've given you PowerPoint slides for the book I'm using, so that if I need to show you something, I just go to the PowerPoint and I say, oh, here are the data types that are available. So you have your usual data types, names could be different, sizes are almost the same. Then you have your classes, you have your structures. Your data types are again basic data types as in Java, but on the back end they have structures attached to it. A structure is different from a class in the sense a class is data and methods, a structure is only data, right? So that's what a structure is in C# or in C++ also, if you've done C++. So all these are kind of normal things that we do in any language. And I'll do it here also. We will work with files. We will also work with exception handling, of course, right from maybe week 2 or 3, because exception handling is something that you should know about. And you've done it in your Java too. You've done it in your intro course too. So same kind of concept, the same try-catch blocks, syntax here and there. There is also a little extra thing in C#. It's called try with something I forget. Anyway, it will come back when I use it, right? But the same concept, you're trying to write code, your program should not break. You should think of all possible ways a user will break your code, and then thinking that you will write all your exception. So we will start exception handling as soon as I start doing computations, right? For now, if there's nothing to do, I'm just asking the user's name and saying hello and stuff like that. I don't need any exception handling. But as soon as you start doing math, as soon as you start doing computation, you'll use it. And we'll embark on it right from day one so that you do it the right way. Okay, so we'll do exception handling or error handling as it is written here. Class modules and objects, concept of classes and objects, and database applications. So that's what is the course content. And we have to keep on speed. Like, fortunately, you don't have any day off. There's no holidays on Thursdays, I've checked. The other section has already lost a day. Tuesday, there were no classes. So I'm hoping that they can do this online, whatever I'm talking today, and we can save time. But we have to go. There won't be any time for anything else. Okay, so just bear with me. You will just have to go quick. There will be 2 tests during the course of the semester, there will be a midterm and there will be a final exam. They're worth 40%, 20 each for now. It could change, right? Again, hands-on is what I usually prefer, that you do it yourself. Things could change. When the time comes, I'll let you know. And then there are assignments that are worth 60%. These assignments are a combination of your in-class assignments and your take-home assignments. All together make 60%. Okay. How many will you be able to do? Depends upon your class. 4, 5, 6. It can go to any range. Small ones maybe more. If they're big, maybe less. Okay. The aim is if I can get you into it and I'm satisfied, oh, you're getting it, then I'll say, okay, now you're fine. I know you know how to do stuff. Maybe I'll give a bigger one. That's how it will work. Let's see how it goes. But I'll keep doing what I've been doing in my last semester, and it worked well. So as I said, 2 tests for sure, 1 midterm before you go for your reading week, and 1 in the final week of the semester. Most probably hands-on, right? Most probably hands-on like what we do in class. But again, things could change. When the time comes, I'll let you know. The course is open for prior learning assessment, which means if you've taken this course somewhere else and you can prove it you've taken it or whatever, please talk to Ross and you can get a prior learning assessment. You can get that in this course. So that's the person to talk to. I wouldn't know how it works. And then of course you have assumptions also. I think if you have worked somewhere and you have enough to show that, oh, I know C#, then there's another option. So PLA and exemptions. You can always appeal for your mark. Whenever I mark something, I'll give you my feedback, right? If it is an in-class, the feedback will come by words. So there won't be any written feedback. It will be oral. You can always challenge your marks if you like. You're most welcome to do that. But I make it a point that I make my rubrics or I mark it the same fair way for everybody. So if it is done, this is it. If it is not done, this is it. If you've partially done it and so on. So hopefully there'll be no appeals, but of course, you can always appeal for your mark. The second important, very important thing that you have to keep in mind in this course is, I mean, it's a general thing, but I want to reiterate it because I don't want to go through all that. Individual assignments. You can look for resources wherever you like on the web, any textbooks that you like, anybody you want to talk to, but you should know your limits. You can't go to the web and copy and paste code. You can't go and listen to a video recording and then say, oh, that's what he was saying. I just did what he was saying. That's basically cheating, right? So resources are ample. Of course, you will go and look for resources. That's how you learn. But please know your boundaries. What can I use and what cannot I use? Right? Whatever I do in classes, of course, you can use. So please don't share code. Please don't give code. If you need to talk to somebody, please go ahead. The best person would be to come to me and clarify your doubts. But again, I know everybody's busy. You talk to each other and you try to take ideas, but ideas very quickly kind of work into same assignments, and I don't want to see that. Okay, so please be honest. That's all I require from you. Just waste your time and my time, and it's not very pleasure to have talking about cheating and going into all that. But for your information, the college has certain rules. It's all present on the website. The link where you go and look for it is also on the website, is also in my syllabus. So I'll show you where to go and look for those rules. But generally, this is what it says. It says if you're caught doing anything, fabrication, or even helping somebody is, again, the same thing. It's not that, oh, I was only helping. The first time you do it, it's a 0 in the assignment, the work that is being checked. The second, if you haven't learned your lesson and you do it again, it's a 0 in the course, and you still want to go ahead, it's an exemption from the college for 8 months if it is your third attempt. I don't think there is anything else after third because the exemption is an exemption from the college. So why would you do it? You're here to learn and learn on your own, learn for yourself, but of course take whatever help you need, but please draw your lines. Okay? Please see that you're not fabricating or cheating or doing stuff that you should not do. And if you're not clear about the rules, ask, right? Just ask. That's how you know what's happening. So don't try to help each other beyond a limit. Talking usually is fine, but when you start showing code and exchanging code, then it automatically reflects in the students' work. Please avoid it. I would say don't do it. It's not what you're here for. Okay. The rest, of course, it's up to you. Okay. So what I've done is, depending upon that course outlines, I've created a syllabus. So, right, so the syllabus shows you a few more things that I'm not sure why they called it section 3 and 4. There is no 1 and 2 for your information. So sections 3 and 4, so you should be 4 because Thursday is Thursday today. So we are running 2 sections of this course. Those are the only 2 sections running this semester, and both sections, I'm teaching both sections. So you're caught, right? You can't escape. Anyway, so as I said, both happen in the same room. The timings are different. The Tuesday is 2 to 5, and this one is 11 to 2. 11 to 2, yeah. And again, you guys are a week ahead of the other section. So anytime, for any unavoidable reason, please, it's not, oh, I can't come Thursday, I'll come on Tuesday. That doesn't work. That will not work. But for unavoidable reasons, if you cannot attend a class, and since assignments have marks, and we all are here for marks, definitely, if you want to change, some particular week doesn't work or whatever, you can go on and attend the Tuesday section as if I know about it. Okay. The course description is coming straight from the learning outcomes, so there's no different. The book, as I said, I think Bradley has that book. C# 2015 is the book I'll be using, and I did talk to the publishers, send them an email, got a reply back. They've given me a small 1-page PDF saying this is what is different, and there is nothing different. The IDE has improved a little bit. 3 or 4 things are new and good. The C# itself, I have just see a very minor change. So I'll stick with the book, but we all know as programmers that one book is never enough. So I don't say it is a required textbook, I say it is a recommended textbook. So textbooks are basically, they help us to kind of keep on track. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this is what I'm going to cover, then this is what I should do, then this is what I should do. So it kind of keeps us on track, and that way we know what we want to do. So you can choose whatever book you like, you can choose any online resources you like, and I'll be doing the same. All these examples that I'll do in class are not necessarily in the book at all, right? They're just examples. I pick up, I want to teach something today. I pick up an example, I make it up, and I do it. Okay, but I am following the book so that I know, because it's a recommended textbook, so I know that I've covered all topics. Okay, and because I have PowerPoint slides, it helps me, it gives you something to look through also. Small syntax things which we can't remember as programmers. What are the various data types? What are their sizes? And so on, like small things which by now in semester 3 you should be used to. But still, there is a textbook, so it is a recommended textbook. So therefore it says recommended. I'm not going to say, please do exercise this on page this of the textbook. So therefore it's not a required textbook. You're most welcome to, I don't know if it is available online or not, but if you can find it, sure. I don't have extra copies. I only have 1 copy and I would like to keep it. But if you want it for a weekend or something, that's okay. Because I want to see, oh, I'm covering everything. So I want to keep track of what I'm doing. So I have that textbook, but I don't have a extra copy of it. So that is the textbook. And as I said, it does say C# 2015, but as I said, there's hardly any change. Just a couple if I noticed. So I've attached that PDF for you so that you are assured that we are not learning something old. We are on track, right? And again, 2017 has more IDE good features, and I would like to use them as I do it, right? But again, it takes a little time to get used to new features, but they are there, and debugging has become easier, which is a great advantage to programmers. But you will hardly find that you'll need debugging in this course. But anyway, some people just like that feature, and it's a very, very powerful feature. Debugging is a very powerful feature, and it helps you to track your. So that has improved. I kind of played with it a little, as I said. Sure, go ahead and see what has changed, and that is available here. I kind of made a point to give you that PDF just so that you know what has changed. Because of course, if something new comes up, you always have to kind of see what is it, what has changed. Even with Visual 2017, please go and read about it a little. If you haven't used anything before, then forget about it. But if you have used 2015 or 2012 or 10 before, definitely I would recommend that go and read about what has changed in 2017. And that's what I did. So I didn't see a lot of changes, but definitely there are a couple of new features that have come up in the 2017. The exception assistant is great. It's more for handling exceptions, and it's a helper. That was great. Debugger has improved, right? And that's again a good feature. And I don't think I have tested this, but it says you can now visualize blocks as blocks, but I haven't tested that. I've done the other two. And the new C 2017 features, as I said, there was hardly anything that was kind of worth changing books. Just how you code in the get and set methods. Sometime when 10, 11, 12 week when we do our own classes and write our own methods, that is where you will kind of see this, right? So very, very minor changes. So I stuck with the book. Finding a textbook is also not easy. And again, no one textbook can work for everybody. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Like, but of course, if you're interested in other C# textbooks, I may have a few in my office, and you're most welcome to use that. I'm not sure if I have a latest one, but the old ones. So again, as I said, I just need a textbook so that I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so let's cut back to where we were. So very quickly, so all my information is there. If anytime you need to send me an email, my email address is there. If you want to call me, there's my phone number. You know where I sit. I am still in the same room that I was last year. We all are there. Jared, all the full-time faculty are there. But please be kind enough. Whenever you email me, please be kind enough. And you will learn this I'm sure you learned this in your co-op too. You just can't say without my name, without a greeting, without your name, just ask a question. Do we have an assignment in class? I'm not going to answer emails that have no names. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't even know who is asking me that question, which course you are in, nothing. So when you send me emails, please see that you tell me who you are, you tell me what you're talking about. I'm also teaching math again this semester. So which section are you talking about? What are you asking me? I have no clue. Do we have an assignment today? When is the assignment due? Don't ask me questions like that, please. And I won't answer them. It's too rude, right? And similarly, when I send you emails, I'll follow the same protocol, okay? And any announcements that have to be done for everybody will, of course, go on Blackboard. Individual emails will go to your student email addresses. That's the only email addresses I have on Blackboard. So please keep checking your student emails or redirect them as and how you need it. I will be available in my office in these 3 hours. So we have 3 hours of official hours that I have to put. So those are my 3 hours. But again, anytime you would like to see me, you are around, you want to come and see me, email me. And if I'm in my office, you'll get an answer back immediately, right? But if I'm not in my office, if I'm in class or something, then of course, I'm not in my office. But usually if I'm in my office, if I get an email and student says, are you around? Can I come and see you? Sure, doesn't really matter. But these are my official hours. I will always be in my office in these 3 hours. So we have to put something on our timetable, and that's what it is. There is no appointment that is required to come into my office hours. Sometimes near an assignment or something, when things are really, if it is required, I will have a couple of students asking for help. You may have to wait, but I think we'll be okay in this course. You'll see more of Jared than of me. But anyway, right? So that's how it works. But again, those are the 3 official hours. Definitely, I can't come to class without being prepared. I have to speak for 3 hours, show you an example, and so on. So I'm hoping I'll always be prepared for class. I'll try my best to answer your questions. Sometimes I may not be able to. We can always find answers together. And of course, if I'm not able to, I'll ask around. There's nobody else teaching C#, but I'm sure it's not rocket science. You can always get answers. There's so many resources now. That's the best part about the technology today. You search for something and you get hundreds of answers, right? And then you choose what makes sense to you. That's how we learn. Definitely, there are clear standards and expectations that I want from you, strict or not strict, or she's too finicky or whatever. I really don't mind. My aim is to make the best out of you, right? I'm aiming at making the best programmers. So if I say code should be efficient, it should be efficient. You're not going to write a statement inside a for loop that needs to go outside a for loop. You should know where to use a while, where to use a for, where to do stuff. You should. I mean, it's expected of you. You're in semester 3. So I like to give specific instructions and I want them to be followed so that you get into good habits. If you start with good habits, you always stay with them. Converting from bad habits to good habits is really hard. So we'll start with good habits, keep our programming at a professional level, try to learn the best, do the best. And that's what my expectations and standards are from you. And of course, I'll try my best to give you and keep you engaged in class. And that's how we do with examples. So I won't talk, not do any PowerPoint slides or anything unless I need to show you something. Otherwise, it's all doing. And doing hopefully keeps you engaged and not sleepy, right? From your side, definitely I want you to attend your classes regularly. While you are attending a class and you are in my class, please see that you keep away from social media, from texting and so on. I know it when you do something because I can see smiles on your face and they're not coming from what I'm teaching, right? So I can keep an eye on each one of you. I exactly know what you're doing. And if the class is boring, leave. What's the big deal, right? If you learned something before, you don't want to waste your time, sure. But that's not why you are here. You've paid for it. I'm trying my best to give you what you've paid for. So learn, right? That's important. And that's what it is. Ask for help as often as you require. Don't even wait for week 2. I would say if you don't understand something, do it right after class, for example. I have an office hour today just for your information after class. So we do something in class, something is not clear, you want to clarify your doubts, come over and do it. And done and finished so that you're clear what is required in class. As quick as you do it, the better you will get. Follow along with the required reading in the text. Now this reading is up to you. As I said, programming is all hands-on, right? So reading doesn't mean reading from the textbook. Reading means looking for resources online, trying something new, whatever. But you are trying to keep up to date to it. In Java, you have to devote a lot of time. I don't think in C# in this course you will require more than a couple of hours outside class. But it's entirely up to student. It varies from student to student. Please enjoy when you come here. Please enjoy the learning process. Come with an open mind that I'm here to learn, not to criticize anybody. Learn from me, learn from your peers. Speak out if you want to say something because it will help others to learn something new. Maybe it will help me if I haven't heard of it before. Maybe you can say, oh, this is a better way. Couldn't we do it this way? Sure. Right? So please keep an open mind and try to learn as much as you can. That's the whole process. The whole process why you're here is learning. And you will learn. You'll learn from experience. You will learn from, and co-op matters a lot. When students come back from co-op, they're much more mature. They are, because I think they've seen, oh, it does make sense to know things because it helps me in my co-op. In the long run, you will learn a lot. Please live without your cell phones, Facebook, music players, whatever, for 3 hours. That's all I ask of you. And whenever you email me, please see that I know who you are. I won't answer questions if I can't make head or tail out of your question. I'm not sure whom I'm answering back, and I won't answer. Okay, it's as simple as that. And please check Blackboard frequently for assignments, for announcements, and resources. So anytime you find a good resource, please, I would encourage you to send it to me so that I can add it to my Blackboard. It always helps. I learn so many things from my students, right? I do, because I think they research more than I do, because they're looking for more stuff. And especially when it's assignment time, they'll look everywhere. And then they get good websites, and I get advantage out of it, and I pass it on to other students. So please send me good sites if you find. I don't have any favorite site for C#, whatever I can get.
I know a really good site just for like all languages. It's Learn X in Y minutes.
Learn X and Y in minutes?
Like Learn X in Y.
In Y, okay.
Yeah. And it's just like
everything.
It just gives you the syntax of like every language in just like a simple document.
Oh, okay.
And like you can just see how they're
varies and how they are related.
All the differences.
Okay, send me that email, the web address, please, and I'll put it on Blackboard. And I haven't seen it. It would be nice to see, because when I teach different languages, I mean, you're teaching Java, you're teaching C# and so on. It's good to know if you can kind of relate it. I can relate the two languages because I teach both of them, but not necessarily I can relate it to, say, C++, because as I said, I'm not a big fan of C++. So I've done it, but I can relate it to other languages also. I can relate it to Visual Basic. I can relate it to any other application programming language, but it would be nice if I can also relate it to something like PHP, for example, something that you do. Okay, good, thanks. So give it to me and I'll put it on Blackboard. The evaluation is coming straight from, again, the course outline. So it's a 40-60 break, 40 for tests and 60 for assignments. And you know what? You can score very well in this course if you put your mind to it. You can do it. I have in bold mentioned that there will be in-class assignments during the course of the semester that will contribute to your final marks. It goes to your assignments. It's just in class. An in-class assignment will be assigned in class, will need to be completed in class, and will be marked in class. You'll say, how are you going to waste our time marking it? No. The next time you do an assignment, I'll mark your previous one. That's how it will work, right? Hopefully. Then I don't have to go and look at each one of them individually and do it. So I give you an assignment, you get time to do it. You submit it on Blackboard officially that it was done. It is submitted on Blackboard. All assignments are submitted on Blackboard. And then if I get time, not everybody finishes at the same time, believe me. Sometimes somebody finishes first, I just mark it. Or the next week when you're doing your other assignment, I just mark the previous one. That's how it is. So that way I can give you my feedback. Please don't make mistakes again, because you will lose marks otherwise every time. So that's the whole purpose, that you do assignments and you learn something new. You don't repeat those mistakes, and you can ask me questions if you want. So I can give you a push, but I won't give you solutions, but I'll kind of say, oh, why not try this? Okay. So anytime, so you have to be physically present in class to get marks for an in-class assignment. If you're absent, then you will not be awarded marks, unless, that doesn't mean, oh, that's the end of it, unless I have been informed beforehand an alternative arrangement has been made to complete the in-class assignment. Things can arise, right? We're all human beings, things can arise. So if you know of it beforehand, you always have the chance of doing it the next week on the Tuesday section. That's one advantage your section has. Or if you have a doctor's appointment or something went wrong, hopefully we won't have any snow days or anything, there won't be that problem, but things can always occur. If there is anything really important or something that I need to know, we can work around it. But it's not a habit. I'm not saying that you do it every day. It's an exception that I'll make for you. Maybe once a semester. Okay. So you have to be in class. I know attendance is not compulsory. It's up to you. You don't have to be in class if you don't want to, but there will be in-class assignments. Definitely test assignments will have to be submitted on time. I usually don't have a late penalty. On time means on time, you give it, finished, it's closed, right? There is no, can I take another day, mark it with 20% penalty? No, I gave you a week for it. You didn't do it. That doesn't mean you can still give it and take it and I mark it. The rule is a rule. You'll be given time. Everybody will be given the same time. If you choose not to do it by that time, it's entirely up to you, right? But assignment is given, done and finished. Okay, take home assignments and also in-class assignments. So unless otherwise specified, all assignments have to be done individually. They're all individual assignments. There are no group assignments in this course till I say this is a group assignment, which will be very clearly said. So whatever you're doing in class, it's all small. If something is big and I know 2 people are needed or the time is short and I know it will help discussion, I'll tell you that it is a group assignment. Otherwise, do it yourself. And as I said, if you can't resist talking to your neighbor or looking for answers on his or her screen, move. Please move. I'm going to be very strict about this. It's a rule, you know about it. Please follow it. Okay. I don't want to go and kind of make something out of it. Okay. Seems like I need some. I'll do that afterwards. I didn't notice that this was out of the block. But anyway. Okay. So I haven't said any assignments here. You will notice I have said 2 tests because I know when the tests will occur for sure. There will be a midterm before the reading week and there will be a final exam in the last week. That's for sure. For assignments and everything else, nothing is mentioned because it says, please check Blackboard regularly for announcements, assignments, projects, and other information. Because it really will depend. I couldn't do something with the Tuesday section this week. So I can't say, oh, because 2 sections, it could be different. Maybe because they missed a class, I let them take it home and say, okay, now submit it within 2 hours. And I let you do it in class for 2 hours. So I'll have to kind of make up for their the Tuesday loss that they have. And therefore, I don't put any dates or times here because it could be different for the 2 sections. When you do an in-class assignment, please don't share it with the other section. And if you share it, they basically know the assignment before you do. So I'll give you an assignment, you do it, and then forget about it. If you have a good friend in the other section, what did we do today? No idea. Don't share it. It's same as helping, that is not allowed. So don't share assignment questions with your friends. Don't do that, please. Because I can make different assignments. I can change a few things, but I can't make different assignments because you're being evaluated for the same thing. Okay. Okay, so I've kind of broken down my what I want to teach. So if you'll notice, today was introduction to Visual Studio and Visual C#, and we'll start designing and coding a simple Windows form application. So we're working with Windows form application and we are going to use C#. The other option for rapid application development is Visual Basic. Again, you'll see very similarity. If you've done it before, you will see, oh, it's quite similar. So it's not a big change at all. You can very quickly switch to one if required. So we'll start designing and coding hopefully today itself, something small. And then as you see, I've kind of added a topic every time. Learn about variables and then control structures and exception handling. The exception handling will kind of start from week 3 itself. Though it's a different topic, it's kind of saying a different topic, but we won't stay for that long. And then it says more skills, because there are so many skills. I just say more skills. So I'll kind of add every time, every week, you will definitely learn something new. You'll keep the old and learn something new. That learning something new could be learning new controls, or it could be learning new coding, right? It could be anything, but something new will be done every time. Usually we'll start with a new example every week, but if I need something from a previous week, for example, 4, 5, 6 kind of have a relationship, then you will just use your previous code and add more to it. Okay, the first few are easy, they're small, so we'll be okay with them. So therefore I say more skills. Then of course you have your midterm exam, and then we have more on arrays and collections and OOPS, writing your own classes and objects. I think I should be good with one. I've kind of given it 2, but database was given more time last semester than OOP, but I've still kept it there. Depends, it really depends how we go on. Now I've added link, work with files and database programming, and I wasn't able to do it last week. I've still kept my fingers crossed here also. Link is basically where you kind of, it's an integrated query, language integrated query inside. So C# allows you to write your own query language. You're writing queries inside your code. So similar to SQL, kind of, if you can think of it, select this and so on. But it is a feature that has been maybe a couple of years now. So I tried it last semester. I couldn't do it. I didn't have time. There's so much to do that I couldn't find time. And there's much more also you can do here. But again, with 14 weeks, with 2 gone in exams, with 12 weeks, rush. I try my best. Whatever, I keep it there just in case if I get time. If not, it's not a part of your course contents, but I would like you to be introduced to it. So if I get time, sure. If I don't get time, we'll let it go. Right? And this is not the end. It's just something of the language. In Java, you have 3 courses. You start with your programming fundamentals, go to intro, and then do advanced. I don't have that liberty of putting it into 3 courses or even 2. So I try my best to do whatever I can. And whatever is left, I'm hoping that you can learn from your experience. Okay, so I put a link there, but I doubt whether we'll be able to do it. And definitely the sequence and content of the syllabus may change. As I said, maybe we do OOPS for 1 week and do database for 2, or vice versa, or whatever. We are able to do link, we are not able to do link, really depends upon time and also how we are going. But I'll try my best. Of course, leaving 14 week, everything that's mentioned in your course content is till week number 13. Everything will be covered. 14th is an extra fingers crossed week if I can do it. If not, that's okay. It's not as if you won't be able to get it. But of course, things may change, and that is right here. It says that if things change, that's how it is. Exception handling is week 5, but I'll introduce you in week 3 itself. I won't most probably keep it as a different topic, because it gets integrated with all other topics. So it won't get like, I'm only talking exception handling today. It's just integrated with something else that you are learning. And that's how you learn exception handling. It's not a different, like a standalone topic. Also, what the college has done from this semester onwards, they've added information about emergency evacuation and lockdown information. Also added information about campus closures, sexual violence, and student services and supports at the Berry campus. It also talks about peer tutors and learning centers, and hopefully somewhere it also accessibility services, and it also talks about counseling. I'm thinking of, that's strange, they haven't. Somewhere they should also talk about the counseling services, testing services. You're all aware of it, right? Since this is your semester 3. But take a minute to kind of go through it. You have many resources at the college itself, and it would be good that you know that they are available, right? So if you need any of these services, all these services are available in the college. And I'm wondering why they haven't said anything about, or have I missed it? About the issues of academic policies. Seems like they haven't. Maybe I should add it then. Though it will, my assignment will say it, and I have mentioned it here too. Hopefully this is the new link. I didn't check that. I should. It's coming up with a 404 not found. Okay, so there is something that has changed. So I'll have to do that. My link, because things have changed. They've kind of changed this link. And I thought they would add it to their own extra information, but it seems like they haven't. So I'll have to change that link. Didn't notice it at all that I have it there. So you will see that I have placed a link for academic policies and procedures. I was hoping that the college has also done. A few things have changed, but the bottom line is as simple as this: be honest, and you'll never go wrong, right? Why should you look for things not doing the right way? So if you're honest, you don't have to worry about these academic policies as per se. But definitely you should know about them, and I'll make that change. I don't know. Okay, I'll do that. And I'll see why those have not been added in and I'll find that out. So I'll kind of neaten this up. I just noticed that I have these going out and I will do it. Right? And then put it back on Blackboard for you. Okay? I'll see if I can put it on a different page that will look much neater because it's kind of looking untidy here. Oh, why am I making a change here? Anyway, right? So, and I'll find out about that link and also give it to you. So this is your syllabus. Kind of a guideline to what I'll be doing, but it's not written in stone, right? Things will change, but everything that has been promised to you in your learning outcomes and in your outlines will definitely be covered. If I get extra time or if I remember things that are not there but are useful, I'll cover them as I go on. Anything that you know, mention it in class and I'll add to it, okay? Because sometimes, I may not even remember things and you may remember things. So you can ask questions related to it and I'll try my best to answer them, and maybe from there we'll learn few new things. Okay, so that takes care of that. Let's come back very quickly here. So there's what is in your syllabus, and that's the frequently asked questions is what I got back from the publisher. I didn't see the need to change the textbook, so I didn't. The Visual Studio 2017, I've given you that link. I've already kind of clicked on it. It is available for you free of cost. I'm not sure about community edition. I think we should be okay because I'm not doing, but with databases, I'm not very sure how it behaves. The small things are okay with community edition. With databases, I'm not very sure. So I'll stick to the enterprise edition, then we can improve on. So please see that you download it from the website. It will take a little bit of time. I would like you to download whatever. I've taken Windows components because I'm a Windows user, and since all of you are Windows except, but again, since you're running it in a Windows machine, virtual machine, you will download the Windows components. I'll walk you through. Also, I've mentioned here that you will also need to install the Power Pack independently since VS 2017 doesn't come with them. What is this Power Pack? Is basically it's it gives you additional controls like a line, a rectangle, an oval shape. These are called Power Packs. You may not even use it, but there's one that I use from the Power Packs. It's called the print form. Right, so you can print your form if you like. Printing code is no problem, but if you want to print your form, your GUI, if you want to print it, the print form control comes handy. So it's available here. If you click on it, you will notice that there is a exe file here, right? You can download it from here. It's an exe file. So just download it and put it. It's a small file. You'll run it, and once it is run, then I'll show you how to add it to Visual Studio. So you, like as I said, the only thing that I use from the Power Packs is the print form option, which you will do right today itself. So download this file if you haven't done till now and run it. It's an exe file, so double click on it and run it. Once it is run, it won't do anything on its own, but I'll show you how to add it to your Visual 2017. Okay, so coming back where we were, right? So that's all your information. Hopefully you are up to date with this. That was the main aim, that you have Visual 2017 running on your laptops before you come to class today, because we want to do something today. The weekly learning, what I've done in weekly learning is I've placed the PowerPoint slides that were given to me by the publisher. I can share them on Blackboard as long as the students are enrolled in my course, because all of you have you have a login. So it's not available like everywhere, but I'm allowed to do this. So what I've done is I've placed them. Reading is not a big deal. Anytime you want to read, give it a go. It doesn't take a lot, right? I may today, not maybe today. If I need to refer to any chapter, I want to show you something that, of course, we can't remember. We don't memorize anything in programming. Keep that in mind. Programming is all hands-on. We don't memorize anything. There's no need to memorize anything. So if I need to show you something, I hopefully will remember which chapter it is and I'll bring it to your notice. Okay. The small things and I may not even use it at all. So what I did was blindly not even going through them. I haven't even gone through them, to be very truthful. There could be typos or whatever it is, whatever. But blindly, I've placed all files that I will need. I've placed it on Blackboard, all the chapters. Whatever I need, I'll use it when I need it. Okay. So this is just for your reference. I know not many of you, maybe none of you will buy the textbook at all. So here they are for your reference. Okay. It's up to you. If you want to buy them, that's entirely up to you. It depends upon how you like to read and how you like to learn. But therefore, it's not required. It's a recommended textbook. So these are all here for your information. They're all available here. Under assignments, common instructions for all assignments and tests have been written here in black and white, and I will be mentioning them as I talk. So if I say, oh, do this in your application, don't forget to do this, see that you don't have the maximize button and so on. I'll keep talking about it in class because that's what I want you to get into. But to be on the safe side, because I don't want to hear, oh, you never talked about it. And keep something in mind. You're not in kindergarten. If I tell you that GO is go, I'm hoping that you can say TO is to. Okay, so this is not saying, Anju, you never said this in class or you never taught this in class. There's no end, right? You can't expect us or any teacher to say each and every detail in class. Assignments will help you reinforce your learning. Assignments will ask you extra stuff to do, and so can an exam. Something you haven't seen before, what's the big deal? You know how to use classes, you know how to use methods, right? You should just know how to work with it. So keep that in mind, right? So Anju didn't tell us in class will not work, but still keeping myself safe. I've kind of given all common instructions for assignments and tests here, and this list may go on. If I hear from students and I hear something that I think, oh God, that's quite obvious, but I'll still add it here. Okay. The in-class assignments will come here. And I'm not sure. No, I haven't yet put it. Your first assignment is ready. It's already ready in the sense that I know what I have to give you and it's ready. I haven't placed it yet because I'm not hoping to assign it today anyway. Or maybe I could give it to you because you're running ahead of the other section. Or maybe let's settle for a week and then maybe come back. So your assignments will come here. Whether they are, this one says in class. Then I have to give a take home. Maybe you'll have another folder here which says take home assignments or whatever, right? But they will be posted here. There will be a link to submit it. But again, as I say, please ensure that you don't share these assignments with the other section because they'll be always taking it after you. Anything else that you need to know about here? I don't think so, right? Your tests, oops. Uh-oh. Now, whoever it is whatever. Okay, so if you were smart enough to look at a few examples from last semester, good. If not, I always do a review with you, so it's nothing that is not available. So your midterm exam and your final term exams will occur under tests. Okay, when and whatever they occur. Okay, so how many of you have not installed Visual Studio 2017 on your laptop? Good, I'm glad. So we will all be able to start today. And the format of taking a break will remain the same as it was before. We'll take a break around 12:15 for this class, so around half time in between, and we'll take a break of 20 minutes so that you can have your lunch and then come back because it's a lunchtime time. So instead of giving you 10-minute breaks, that usually doesn't work, we'll do a 20-minute break, right? So before we go on break, since we have another 10 minutes or so, very quickly, if you can open up your Visual Studio 2017 and get it running. And I'll show you how to kind of install that Power Packs, okay? So if you will notice that, like, I haven't started anything, but this is how you start a new project. And of course, please see that if you want to, you can always go into tools and options and do things your way, right? Like if you want a different color theme, if you notice, I have a blue color theme, that's what it is. You can change it to whatever you like. You can change these options to whatever you are interested in. Another one that I kind of put in my projects and solutions is, if I can show you here. Here, I do this, I don't know. If you can double check if it is different on your, whenever I create a project, I say save my new projects when created, so that at least I know that they are being saved as soon as I create them. So if you want to check that on, if it is on, good. If it is not, if you would like to check that on, I usually try to say save new projects when created. You will see there will be a little difference. It doesn't save when you start, then you'll have to do a save yourself. In here, it's kind of saving right when you start, and then you know where it is. So definitely you should know where it is. Also in other settings, if you want, you can go and do settings in your text editor if you like. So if under text editor in C#, if you would like to have whatever you want to make changes here, you can do. If you want to see line numbers, if you want to see the navigation bar and so on, if you want to do word wraps, maybe I'll have to do a word wrap so that you can read my screen. So I'll kind of make it on for now. Let's see how it works. And it says, show me the glyphs for word wrap. It kind of shows you a return, right? So I do that just because everything should be, you can see when I type. You don't have to do it. You can change your code style if you want. IntelliSense is another one. IntelliSense is really useful. IntelliSense helps you to intelligent. That's what it tries. So as soon as you start typing, it will show you a completion list. So that's handy. If you don't like it, you can remove it. So it says show completion list after a character is typed. So it would, some students don't like it. Anyway, it's up to you. Snippets behavior, never include snippets, always include. It will say snippets are, suppose you want to do something with an if, you're lazy, you don't want to type it yourself. You can always do a right click and get it. There's another one, control plus a dot can also show you snippets. But if you want snippets to appear behavior, you can say always include snippets. So snippets are just small empty templates for control structures, for example, ifs and whiles and so on. It's up to you if you want.
Yeah, I think you can hit like tab.
Something, it says something. I noticed it says
For properties like prop and then
tab. Yeah, you're right. And I think there's a control dot also for it, or you can do a right click and it says show snippet. So there are a few ways of doing it. If you want it here, it's up to you, right? Then you have the enter key behavior. Again, whatever you like. This is just to show you that you can set up your own, IDE as you like it. So play with it if you like. It depends upon you, how you want to do it. But I mean, I only change a couple of things. I like my solution to be saved when I start. I do a couple of changes. Otherwise, I don't bother a lot with it. But again, it's up to you however you want to work it. And notice there is a code style also, and it again depends upon how you like to code and so on. And there is a formatting one also, and indentation and new lines. By default, when you type, I think it automatically formats it. Visual Studio automatically formats it properly. So it saves you. Whereas I think in NetBeans, you have to go something like Control Alt Enter or something.
There's still a format thing, I think, under like edit.
Under edit? Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, but I think
Advanced,
yeah, exactly. So it depends how you want to do it, right? It's up to you. So it says automatically format when typing. That's why it formats it, right? So if you uncheck this, of course, it won't do it for you. So whatever you like, you can set up your ID however you want to like, however it works for you. So I don't do a lot of changes, but again, it's up to you. So you have these options under your tools to do it. Okay. And also there's another thing in tools that is good to, I forget now. Oh, the import and export settings. There is something, visit. Okay, there's nothing to show for now. I think I did something with it. I forget now. Doesn't show anything. So I can't remember where I did it. But I think I do something in import and export settings. When it comes back to me, I'll let you know. I forget now what it was. So here it is. There is a code snippets manager, also Control KB. I can't remember my keys, to be very truthful. And you don't have to remember them either if you don't want to, but they're always available in your menus and there's always shortcuts. Some people are really good with keys, really good. They don't like, they just do it. I think people who really work day in and day out on the same software get used to it. And of course, they're much easier. I'm not good at keys. I use one semester I'm using NetBeans, the next time I shift to Visual Studio, the next time, and I can't remember any of them. So I kind of just look up and do it. They're all available under, of course, they're all available under files and edits and whatever you would like to do. Okay, so they're all available here also. Now, how do I add, if I can? Can I just add them without Or will I have to create something? I forget now. Anyway, let's see if I can do it right away and see if you can follow me. Here is your toolbox. That's kind of, there's nothing in it because I haven't opened a project at all. Let's see if I can do this. Go and do a right click and say add a tab. Let's see if I can do it. Otherwise, we'll create an object. Sorry, a project, not object. Okay, so it's saying what tab do you want to add? Now I've already done this before, right? I already have the power packs. So hopefully I'll not kind of make a mess of it. So go with something like you can remember. Go with power packs, for example. Right? So I'm trying to now install. So before this, definitely you have downloaded that power packs exe file and you have run it. Okay, that's already ready. All I'm doing is I'm adding it here. So if I have already have something like power packs, then it will tell me it's already there. I can't remember now. Does it say something for power packs? No, but it's not doing anything. Okay, so we are good. Maybe I called it something else. Now, so add a new tab in your toolbox. Tab just means something extra, right? And since this is not already in Visual 2017 that I've already mentioned, I'm just adding these power packs. Now, once you have this, you see a new tab, call it whatever you like. I call it power packs because it kind of helps me remember it. Now do a right click on it and say choose items. And this will come up. If you've already run that file, the exe file that I have told you to do, download it. It's a 2-minute download and run it. And now search for something called power. Right? You should be only doing this once, and I'm wondering if I've already done it. Why is it coming up? Anyway. Oh, it's loading. Okay, give it a time because I have done it. Therefore, mine loads very quick. Yeah, yours is slow. Okay, mine is quick because I've done it. And I'm thinking, why is it even doing it? Why doesn't it say you already have power packs? Maybe I call it something else. I can't remember now. Yes.
Following your instructions, it said for the power packs, please close Visual Studio now to reduce the chance that computer restart will be required later.
Okay, so do that. Right? It's an exe file. Just download it.
So I can close Visual Studio.
Sure. Then you'll have to, if it's telling you to, it's an exe file. I don't know why is it even telling you to, because it's just an exe file. Do you see something coming up? Do you see something similar to me? Oh, there, okay. Okay, it will take, the first time it takes time. Once you have it, then filter it. Look for power, like power. You're looking for power. And notice how it says data repeater. And I will see 2 of these because I have 2015 also installed and so on. So don't worry, you will only see 1. And you will choose a data repeater, a line shape, an oval shape, a print form, and a rectangle shape. These are what will be added to your power packs. So if I take you to the right, you will notice why I have 2 of them. One is in the cache, and one is in the cache memory. It's from my 2015, I'm thinking, and this is the one that I'll choose. So you should see something like this: C:\program files, where you've installed your 2017. So you will kind of check the one. I know the second ones are the ones that I want to check. So you will see these 5. Once you have that exe file downloaded, double click, you run it, it's ready. Now in Visual Studio, all I'm doing is adding those to my environment, right? And to do that, you go to your toolbox, do a right click, add a new tab, give it a name that will make sense. Power packs makes sense to me. You could call it whatever you like. Once you have it, then we'll right click and say choose items. And it will take a little while for choosing and populating this. I'm on the first one, .NET Framework component, not on the other one, the first one. It will take a little time. Let it load your items. And once the items are loaded, filter it and put power, start with power. It's power packs you're looking for. And you will see these 5 come up on your screen. I have 10, don't worry about it. You'll see these 5s coming up. How many of you are with me? How many of you see the, okay, so I have 1, 2, 3. Good, so we are getting there. 4. Okay, so check these boxes.
There's some that already came checked.
In the no, just go with the power one. Leave the checked ones checked. Don't even bother about what you already have. Therefore, I said filter it because there's so many that you have to searching will become difficult. Put power in it, and it will show you only these 5. Right? There are many. Yes.
There are only 5.
You have 6. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, sorry, 5.
5. I have 5.
Shall I click the 5 one?
All 5.
Okay.
We will be using the print form for sure, and we will be maybe using line shapes, right? But for me, this one is important, print form.
It says power packs already. Is
Now, how can that happen? Which Visual Studio version are you using? They don't come. They never came with 2015 also.
2017 Enterprise.
Mine added it.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you add them yourself before you came to class?
No, I downloaded the PowerPack.exe file.
And you ran that. That's it.
Yeah.
But this procedure has to.
No, never done that.
I don't know. It can never happen on its own. Are you all there?
Once we select them, do we click OK or we select?
Yes, we do okay. So we do okay. Once you've selected them, I'm not sure how it should say power packs already. Cannot happen.
Mine says that they're added, but are not enabled in active designer. Okay.
Okay, let's see what happens. That's what I was thinking. Should we have to create a project first or do this? But I think we are okay. If not, we'll do it again. Okay, it doesn't take a minute. Once you have this loaded, it doesn't even take a minute. Now do an okay. Let's see what it says. And says the following controls were successfully added to the toolbox but are not enabled in the active designer. That's okay. Because we don't have any project open, okay? And there we are. Okay, we'll see. If it doesn't work, we'll create the project and then do them again. I don't remember when, how and when. It doesn't matter. It will take a minute. So now we are ready to do our first class. Okay? So Visual 2017 installed and Power Packs added because Visual 2017 doesn't come with Power Packs. Neither did 2015. And 2013, I can't remember, but definitely 2015, I remember we had to do. And it should stay because these are our laptops. It should stay. And I'm wondering why something is not working right in mine. But anyway, it's not a big deal, but something is not working. Once you've installed it, you don't have to install it every time. You shouldn't be doing it. It's done. It's in my 2015 for ages now, right? So I don't know why I was able to do it again. Anyway, that's my problem. I look at it afterwards. Okay. Once that is done, we are ready to begin our first project. We'll take a break here, 20 minutes breaks. We are almost at 20 after 12. Please be back at 5 before quarter. Take a break, have your lunch. I'll have my lunch too. I'm tired teaching after a few days, not many though. And then we'll start doing our first project. Okay? Okay. Oh. So 20 minutes to 1. Be back by 20 minutes to 1.
And then what? No. I think it's We're gonna start ordering for pizzas.
We was thinking about some credit cards last time.
Yeah.
Well, it's got happening. No, I was gonna say, it definitely wasn't like. I know I'm gonna confuse it. When she tried to scoop it over, I think she was asking about.
Yeah, I can see this is like.
Yeah, it's like a real slob.
Yeah.
That's a good priority, dude. Right, Jacob's upgrade, he's off 9 gigs now. Reddit.
Right, there's some things that might be don't need because it's just not.
I told you.
Well, it was actually part of it, so it's not
No.
downhill.
It is the downhill.
It is the bottom. It was trash when I started, but now it's getting going and more trash and reposts.
Well,
Yeah, I can filter this out.
Yeah, you can filter that.
It's probably what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Onto this, although.
Yeah, it's
all the six and stuff.
Well, bring your iPad, there you go.
Will you find myself bullying?
There goes the phone.
What to do, man?
There goes the
I
iPad.
like crying myself to sleep.
That's-
You only move
Wow,
it
I-
one day.
That's how you look at that switch speaker. How to do boredom. One of the more you want is the regular. Gotta be boredom. Whole thing is.
Yeah. Heavily like it was like back and forth, but. You wanna split the vote?
Yeah.
I was good.
How about for lunch? Big order again.
Thought it's something
We had that handcraft dinner. Ooh, how about that? Chicken and handcraft. Now we're getting out here.
Excuse me.
All right, I didn't know what you did. Sorry, bro. He also insulted all three of us at the same time.
So you broke the JK.
Well, and there was like one person off. I'll just keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You made sure my life. So I guess. Did you guys have special equipment?
That doesn't count. It was like, is it outside of the room?
All right.
Bathroom, my room, I'm like, the roof. Some, I have to see your neighbor. One way close to the one way.
Why don't you turn off the light and close the door?
Exactly.
You don't get to say exactly.
Anymore now? You also try to throw me under the bus.
What?
Right, so it's the whole white circle.
Yeah.
You put that on the record.
I don't understand what you guys are complaining about. I've never played with his light switch.
He's trying to open my door too.
I've tried to end like Riley. That was when it was, it was last night I tried to figure out, but I'm a vegan, it's just like, oh, all right, we'll eat.
It's not, that's not big news, that's not.
We need so much. We need internet.
There's nothing to do.
I have I got this whole picture, this whole. Not all movies I've seen.
We close 5:30. That's not
I've seen Gary,
I've
I've seen
like one show like that. Oh, Sunday. In Collingwood, they would be like, yeah, drop it off for like 4
Yeah.
Hello.
And then I was like, well,
I don't know if it was still. I'll go to find out.
Oh.
4 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're actually.
Oh, yeah.
Should be 2 hours.
Oh, this is only.
Cool, rate this guy's setup.
Well, one's upgrading a program on the car, and from what I know, was like you
Where- where is that at?
the program crashes that upload, you're stuck there all day. And actually, your car
Rate this guy's setup. I think he's too much. I came home and I think, man,
Yeah.
it's too much.
It's almost too minimalistic.
Checking to see if you tweeted out that says none of them want to give a shit to Rockstar anymore. It's just like, you guys can go all you don't even see our help. Exactly. Why is that happening? Why is there a tempo switch? I don't think it's like 2 frames per second as long as it comes. Oh, dude, that's the two. Where's Cass? Oh, did you see this? We're gonna get the target values of the real is much more than the constant.
Actually, maybe it's not this one. Maybe this one's
Optimization of their program.
Excuse me, Mr. Goodman. Okay. Okay, so it's not a big thing for today, but try to like get home or something again. I mean, today should be okay.
It's not as if you can't work without it, but you have to have it anyway. So. Can I quickly get your names once, right, so that I can recollect? Amrit? No. Okay, I've forgotten. Come again. Sorry? Ah, okay. Okay.
My name is Sarvinder, you can call me Sarv.
Okay, so you are new to the college, right?
No, it's my third semester.
Did I teach you math?
Now I
That's why, right? So, okay, so I haven't seen you. That's why you're new for me. Sarv, you said. Okay. Rutul? Okay. Yeah. Thomas, right. Oh, Thomas, your math was good, right? You've come from another country. Where did you come from? No? I remember you sitting there in my math class somewhere near the door.
Yeah, that's in the back corner.
Yeah, and you used to argue about probability with me, so I remember you. Yeah, exactly. So I do remember you.
Wes.
Yeah.
Daniel. Sean.
Sean, okay. I wasn't able to place it now, yes.
I'm Kendra.
Kendra.
I didn't know if you were pointing your hand.
No, I was pointing at him and I think I can't. Okay. Your name? Sorry? Luke. Ah, you're right. Luke Honjika, right? H, some last name?
H.
Honjika. H-O-N.
H-O-D-I-N.
Yeah, okay. I'll go through the names again once and I'll be okay.
Riley.
Right. Sorry? Nathan. Okay.
Jacob.
Jacob. Okay. I know all the names. Josh? No, Jonathan or Josh. What was it? Jonah. Okay, near. I am near, right? Kind of a combination. So I'll remember. As I said, I know the names. It's just getting them back. Okay, so are we ready to create our first RAD application today? The rapid application, the first one. Okay, so this is how we'll start. Okay. So as I said, familiarize yourself with Visual Studio so that you start using its features. And if you learn something, tell me also when I get stuck, because half the time I forget them. It is a very powerful IDE. There's no doubt about it. And once you get used to it, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you'll say, oh, this is where it is. This is where it is. And that's how it goes. Okay. So by default, maybe now where was that? Oh, that's what I think I did in my, now that I remember, by default, it is set to Visual Basic Studio. And I want to set it to, that's strange, to C#, and it's not allowing me to do that. I thought it was under.
If you go file new project,
No, by default, yeah, it does. But I want to set the environment for C#. It's not very different from Visual Studio, but I think that's the default. it says project/solution. It's not a big deal, but I want to set it to the one that I'm using now. Where did I find that? And I can't remember because I wanted to show it to you too.
Comes in window like this.
Yeah, mine is not coming, right?
So this is what you're looking for, right here.
Yeah, why is mine not coming?
I don't know, but I started using this yesterday, even before our first lesson.
There can be nothing else. I should see a window come up, right? No, I did try that. Nothing happened on the S.
Maybe you have already done that.
No, but it's just a window. It should still come up as a window, right? It's just a settings. The wizard should just come up. It's not a big deal, but I would like to show you where you change your settings, your environment to say the default I'm working with. There are 4 languages that you can work with in Visual Studio, right? There is Visual Basic, there is C#, there is F#, fourth one. No, not Java. The 4th language that you can use Visual Basic ID or Visual Studio ID for: Visual Basic, C#, F#, and C++, right? So these are the 4 languages. Now, all of these 4 languages, you can say, oh, this is my default that I'm using it for. So I wanted to set it to C#, though, as I said, some menus change. It's not as if you can't work with it, but definitely if you're going to work with C#, you should say, I'm going to work with C#. And it's clean. I can't even remember where it was. I thought it was in import and export settings, because that's where I remember it was. I don't think it was in options, because options is trying to set the environment of the particular language you're using, right? And now I can't remember. It's just some tools change. You'll see the toolbar will change. A few things change, which is good. That's what we want. I mean, you can work around it. I can't remember. Okay, when it comes back, and this isn't coming, it's not helping that I can't see my imports and export settings. And I'm almost positive it was here that you're saying I want to work with my. Anyway, okay, this is how you start a new project. When it comes, I'll tell you, because you want to set your environment to C#. So go File, go New. So the difference you will see is here it says project. In C#, it says project/solution, for example. Right? Because you can open a C# project in 2 ways. You can double click on a solution file, or you can double click on a CS project file. So you will see that some of these options change. This will work too, but when I set my environment to C#, that's what it changes. So open up your one of you open up your import and export settings. Let me see if I can show you where it was. If it was working for some of you. Amit, did yours work, Amit? Okay, export selected. Reset settings will be saved to a file so that can be imported. Okay, go to next. Settings with one icons, all settings sensitive, Visual Studio, web projects, workflows. Go to next. Okay, so that's your library where it will. That's fine. But that's it. Okay, so where was it? I can't recollect now. I can't recollect where you set it. As I said, it's not a big deal, but you should, of course, start. Where else could it be? Could it be somewhere else in Customize? No, I don't think in Customize. Definitely not. So there are only 2 options. You can either say options, or you can say export and import. And options, I didn't see any. All languages, basic, C++, C#.
There's an environment.
I tried that. I didn't find anything there. I don't know if it is in.
It's import and export settings.
Oh, there maybe. Okay. Okay, no, we are settings to this file. No, that's the only one it is saying. That's really strange that I've forgotten it absolutely. So you will notice that the few, as I said, because I kind of noticed it and I said, oh, why is it different from what they're showing me? Anyway, it's not a big deal. I'll come back and let you know. Okay, let's start then. Go to New, go to Project. So we are creating a new project, right? And now my windows appears like this. So it says, so you see 4 options here. You can use Visual Basic, you can use C#, you can use Visual C++, and you can, I don't see the F#. I don't see the F#. Now, anytime you want to add anything to it, you can always say open Visual Studio Installer. This is the one that you opened when you installed it. I just want to show you this so that you know that if we want to add anything, we can go here. So in the beginning, because it was a little different, I mean, it took me a couple of tries to find things where I wanted it, because 2017 installation is different from 2015. So when this comes up, that's taking an awful lot of time. Where is it? There it is. So hopefully all of you have installed So since I figured it out, I thought I would let you know. So all of you have installed these three components, right? So we have installed the Windows platform. We've installed the net desktop because that's what we want to work on. Though I don't see F# there, I didn't see it. And then we are going to build Windows forms, but you can also build console applications. It's not a big deal at all. I'll show you. It just takes a minute to show what it is. But we are going to work with Windows forms and WPFs. And if you go down a little, you will notice that it has options for web and cloud. So if you wanted to add these components to your Visual Studio, you would install one of these. And if you go down a little, you will see that there are more to do with mobile and gaming. And again, if you want to do game development with C++ or mobile development, this is what you will have to install. And there are other tools here. So there are Linux development with C++. That's another tool, if any of you is a Linux user. And then there is a net core. Again, it's not in my course, but I kind of looked into it. I mean, it's just playing around. What is it offering? And then some extensions here for new commands, code analyzers, and tool windows. So I haven't installed this, but most probably I'll try to work with this. I want to see what's in this. So what this gave me was, I kind of looked for what I wanted. I wanted to work with C#. Then I said, oh, I want to do maybe Git and everything. It also was coming in one of these or something. So I've installed these three. So what I'm trying to show you is that in case, in future, if you want to install anything else, and here are the frameworks. The 4.6 is the latest. There it is. So that's the latest. But you can always change your framework to an, oh, there is a 4.6.1 also. 4.7 is also there. Okay, I was aware of 4.6 from 2015. Right? So it is targeting this network, this .NET framework. You can always say, oh, I also want to install Net Framework 4.7. And maybe I won't do it right now, but I will go to the latest one. These are just frameworks with different properties. Again, read a little about it. And if I need to, you can always come here and see what is required. So in future, if something is not working, for example, I'll come back here and say, what am I missing? Why is not this working? And we'll get it from here. Right? For now, since, as I said, this was new for me, 2017 is a little different in its installation. It took me a little while to kind of get around it, but I've got it going. And for now, we are okay with all this. Maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe we don't want to do any web programming or anything. So, but nowhere do I see databases mentioned. So when we come to that point of time, maybe we'll have to come back and see, do we need some other tools?
That's the database.
Where is it? Editing debug data. Yeah, but you see here, it also says using SQL Server and Azure data. Like we want to do it on our own local machine. So I'm not sure if this will work, but if need be, we'll have. It can be hosted on the local, but also I haven't looked into 2017's databases now, but 2015 came with a light database management in itself. We didn't have to install anything at all. It was called something local DB. So if 2017 also comes with it, we don't have to install anything there. So so therefore I'm not sure. I haven't tested it yet because I don't need it for a few weeks now. But if it is as it was, then we won't have to install anything, because here it said web and cloud. So I wasn't so sure if we needed it. So I haven't installed it yet. But 2015 came with the light data management system. Light means not completely full, and it works for what we need to do for our applications. If that works good, else we may have to come back and do this data storage and processing. Right? So I'm still working on it, kind of working on it in the sense because it's a new one for me too. And in the individual ones, I did Git for Windows. I'm not sure if it was checked or I checked it, but I wanted Git for Windows so that I could put my stuff on Git, right? So I just chose what made a little sense to me. And again, as I said, this is a little new, and so we will have to play with it a little if and when required. So I'll close this one. So this was to show you how, if you want, we can always go to the installer again from here and do it. Now, under Visual C#, you will notice that I have Windows Universal, Windows Classic Desktop, .NET Standard and Test. I've chosen Windows Classic Desktop. We are going to build desktop applications. And of that, I've chosen Windows Forms application. Right? So this is what I'm going to work with. So if I wanted to create a WPF app, I would choose the first one. If I wanted to create a console app, I would choose the third one, for example. So these are three that I have worked with. I have started doing a little bit of class library also in C#, but I mean, I'm learning myself. So for our course, this is the one that we need to choose, right? We are going to create a Windows Form app. Now, in the names, definitely we would always like to give it good names. That's our first thing. Don't leave it at Windows. Yes, Bradley.
I don't have the Windows Form app
You,
here. Why did it show up?
I'm not sure. Do you have what we have on our left-hand side, Windows Classic Desktop?
Yes, and basically, I was in first 3 minutes class yesterday, and he and I got the free version, which may or may not have everything.
Yeah, but Windows Forms is Windows Forms. You should also have it in the free version. It's not, it's really the preliminary thing that you should get.
You're actually doing a search.
Try it, but I don't know. And notice how it is automatically going to the latest net framework I have. It's not showing me 4.7 because I haven't installed it. Notice I didn't have it checked. But you have a 4.7 and a 4. And that is what it will show you. And that is not what I want to go. But you have 7. I noticed a 7 and a 7.1. So maybe I'll have to download the 4.7. It's just a framework that gives, of course, they are different. That's how it has built upon. 4.6.2 is the latest. I just noticed that I didn't install the 4.7. So here is where you will target it. So if you want to target a lower one, you choose it from here. If you want to target anyone, like any of it, by default, it is targeting the highest that I have in my Visual Studio. I have 4.6.1 as the highest because I didn't install the 4.7 and 7.1. So these net frameworks differ in their properties. Read a little bit about it so that you get an idea of what these frameworks are. And I think chapter 1 has a little bit on it. So you can go through the PowerPoints of chapter 1. Okay. Okay. So let's give it a name here. So how can you, if you can create a Forms app? I don't know. Like it's something that should come automatically, and community I'm sure has it because long back we used to use it. I can look at it after the class if you want, right? Okay, so choose the Windows Form app and give a name here that makes sense to you. You can call it whatever you like, right? So what am I going to do today? I'm basically, in my first applications, I'm just going to put some welcome messages on the screen or something. So it's like a hello world kind of application, right? So that's what I'm going to do. You can call it whatever you like. You can call it hello world. You can call it welcome message or whatever makes sense to you. I'll just call it welcome, right? Now, where do you want to save it? It will entirely depend upon you. So your solution, and notice I have a create directory for solution checked, and I have said create new Git repository. Now, you may not have the Git if you didn't install it. I'm creating this so that I can put it directly on Git. So everything I do, I'll kind of transfer it to Git. That's why I chose to have Git for Windows. The create directory for solution, you have an option of either checking or unchecking it. I usually check it, then it creates 2 folders for me. The solution files go in a different folder and the, and the project files in a different. It's not a big thing. It's more of organization than anything else. So it's up to you whether you want to. You can see the difference. I'll show you what directory gets created and where files are. If I don't check that, everything goes into one directory. So it's just organization, nothing else. So whatever you like, I'll stick to this because I know where to find my files.
Is the solution like compiled version? Is that what?
No, one will only have the code files. It kind of divides itself. I'll show you. There is a designer directory where the designs will go, the code files will go, and I'll just show you one I'm done, that how they're distributed, and one I'll show you without it. So you can see the difference, just organization, nothing else. Okay, and now here I leave it to you where you want to place your files. So I'll kind of do this so that I don't forget, in the sense that I'm putting it where I can find it. So, and you can always set your default directory also to the directory you want in your options in tools. Somewhere you can do that too, right? I didn't do it because I'll be doing it for 2 sections, and for myself, I practice somewhere else. So I'll go to fall 2017 maybe. For example, I have a try here where I put my stuff, right? So I'll just kind of create a Thursday folder. And I'll just put it here. Oh. Right, so Depends on where you want to save your work. That's just the browse. Now I'm thinking, because this has to go on Git, you should be able to recognize your files, because the other section will also be going. So maybe welcome will not be a good idea at all. I'll call it lesson 1 Thursday, right? That way, at least when it goes on Git, you know which one to look for. Or, oh, you know what I've done on Git? I've created 2 different. Okay, give me a minute. I did that homework so that I've already created a. Why is my system so slow today? It's taking ages to bring up anything. Shh. Come on. I'll try to give it the same name. That way. Oh, God. Let's try it once more. Okay, there it is. I've actually created already a Git repository there, and I've called it Thursday-Lesson1. Okay. So if I kind of name it correctly there, I should be okay here. Okay, I'll do this every time. I'll try to put things where you can find it. So I've kind of kept it in F2017 RAD Thursday lesson 1. So it should go in the right one. I'll need this. I'll take this. Okay, let's minimize that. Okay, so I don't think it will matter in the long run, but I'll just kind of for myself do it just so that I know. Okay, and I'll do an okay. As soon as you do this, it will take a second to set it up, and you should find a form here, right? So if your power packs were installed properly, you should see a power packs in your, and it was, right? So that means it will work before creating the project. And the 5, there are 6 here. There is a pointer here also. So we got a rectangular shape, a print form, an oval shape, a line shape, and a data repeater. It's already put a pointer on its own. So here is the power packs I added. The rest, you will see that there is, if you kind of click on it, we won't go to all Windows form all the times. Common controls are better. They're kind of divided. If you see what they mean is here, all Windows form says anything, these are all the classes that are defined in every form. So there is a class called button. So if you want to create an object of the button class, you will double click on it and you will get a button object. So these are classes that have been defined in the library. And when you need anything from this, you double click or you kind of select and drag, and it will give you an object of that class. Okay, so these are all Windows classes that you need. What they have done further is, which is a little easy for us, all the containers they've kind of put together. What is a container? Like a group box where you can put other components inside it. If you notice, there is something called components, which will have the components and not the containers. So if you know where to look, it's easy. If you don't know where to look, then dialog boxes. Do you want to show a save dialog box? Do you want to show a font dialog box? So they've kind of divided it into different groups, but all of these are also available here, which is a little tough to search, but whatever works for you. So I usually work this way, since you'll come into that habit. You will know, oh, if I'm looking for menus and toolbars, it is here. The menu strip is here. If I'm looking for a group box, it is under containers. So you will know in due time, you will know where to go. If not, you can always open up your all Windows forms and look in there and search for it. Okay, but you will get used to it. So to begin with, you can just take common controls, because common controls is what we are going to use today. So you can just open the common controls. So all Windows forms has all the classes, and then they have subdivided it into different groups to make it easy, right? Plus what you've added yourself, the power packs comes there, and it should stay here. Every time it should be here. You don't have to install it every time.
Why is pointer in all of them?
Yeah, there's all pointer in all of them. I think this pointer has to do something with drag and drop then of the classes, because I see it in my power packs also. I'll have to, because I just noticed it too. I didn't put it, and it's in all of them.
Yeah.
So what is this pointer? I'll have to go and see what is it about. What does it signify? Right? So because I've never used it, like I've never even paid attention to it. But now that it was added in my power packs, I'm saying, how did that come? And now that you mention it, it is in every class. So I'll go and kind of read about it, what it is, or what does it signify, and then we'll know. Okay, good observation. I just noticed it myself. It's in my power packs. Okay, so here we are ready. Notice what has been done for you. A Windows form. Does that look familiar? Like it's like a window, right? Like normal windows that you see in your Windows operating system. So it's called a Windows form. A Windows form has been created by you. It has the default minimize, maximize, and cross buttons already there. It has a name form1, which is of course not a good name at all. And then it has that Windows icon on the left-hand side. All of this can be changed and manipulated. If you select this form, you will notice that on your right-hand side, every form has properties. Right now, the properties can be seen in two ways. Now, what have I done? What has been done for me is this: an object of type form has been created for me. So this object that you see, this is a visual object. This object called form1, whose name will change, is an object of type Windows form. Right? So there is a class called window form, which sits in a namespace called windows.system. Now let me try to connect it with Java. Java had packages, right? You had java.lang, java.util, Java, and you had packages there. And inside packages were classes, right? Similarly, in C#, you have namespaces. They're called namespaces. Windows.system, Windows.whatever, you'll see a long list. And ID is very helpful. It kind of includes whatever it wants. So I don't remember all of them. I just remember the common one, Windows.system. And then classes are, definitions are put inside these namespaces. So instead of calling them packages, we call them namespaces. Okay, that's what it is. Now, this form object, when I created a forms application, it created a form for me, which it called form1, and it is an object of type form class in C#. It just gave me one form. You have the option of creating as many forms as you like as you go on into the semester, and you need multi-form projects, right? Now, so this is the form. These are the properties. You will notice that there is an alphabetical order, which I prefer. You don't have to if you don't want to do it. And there is also a categorized, in which it kind of gives you by category. It says, oh, these are the properties of your form if you're looking for accessibility. These are the properties of your form if you're looking for appearance. You can change the back color of your form. You can change the background image. You can change the font. You can change the fore color. You can change the border style. Right now it's sizable. You can change it. And here is the behavior, what happens. Then data bindings, design, and so on. So this is one way of looking at it if you want to go this route. I am used to working with alphabetical order just because it's alphabetical. I know the names of the properties, so I know where to look for it. Right? So whatever makes sense to you, whatever you are comfortable with, do it. Choose whatever you like. After that, you will notice this button is called properties, right? So if I kind of click on properties, this is what I'm seeing in alphabetical order, but you'll see you're already seeing it because with properties, there is also called events. Now, what is an event? So now you kind of understand that an object, like a Java object, an object will have properties, like your instance variables are its properties, right? And with an object, you will be able to call methods. For example, form1.focus, form1.load, form1.close, right? So there will be methods with it. And in addition to properties and methods, you also have events with an object in C#, because C# is an event-driven language plus an object-oriented language. So with every object, you will have instance variables, which are called properties. You will have methods, which are also called methods in Java. And you will have events, which is new. Java didn't have, I mean, you know that when you do GUI, you know that event handlers. But here it is also an event-driven language, so we have events. And notice how many events there are with a form itself. I clicked on the form. A form can be loaded. You can leave a form. You can put, like, some of this you may not even use. You can take your mouse and kind of press it. So there's a mouse click, there is a mouse down, there is a mouse enter, there is so on. And one of the important methods that you will use is the load method, because when you run an application, the form is loaded, right? Another one that you will use is basically activate. I mean, it will come with time when you start using more. So you will see there is a form closing, the form closed, and there is an activate, a deactivate, activated, deactivated, and so on. So these are events. We'll learn how to write code for these events eventually, right? Eventually. So notice there are three things here. To come back to properties, you click on properties and it will come back to properties. If you want it in a category manner, go with categorized. If you want it in alphabetical order, go with alphabetical. It's entirely up to you. right? It's entirely up to you. I prefer to go alphabetical. I don't know. That's maybe how I started and it's kind of stuck in my head. Now here you will notice that I'm going to work with Git because I'm going to put some my stuff on Git. So if I go to home and no, not to home, and I say sync, it's going to say, where do you want to push it? I'm going to say publish it on. And this is the URL that I've already created for you, right? This is the URL that I've already created for you. I've created something called F2017-Thursday-Lesson1 already for you. I'll take this and I'll put it here. So all that I'm going to do today is going to go on Git for you. So if you go to github.com and look for Anju Chawla, you'll have it, right? And you will see that this repository is it will help you. F2017 means fall, RAD is your course name, Thursday is your section, and lesson 1 is the first lesson we are doing today. Okay, so that's how you will search for something on Git. So I'll try to follow the same pattern, lesson 1, lesson 2, and so on, so that you can remember it. And you are the Thursday section. You will see similarity. You will find something called Tuesday lesson 1 also. That's for the Tuesday guys. So I'll try to do this and I'll say publish. So now every time I make a change or whatever, it's going there. Anything I do, I haven't done anything, but I've set it up now. Now, if you click on, so there are no changes. Notice how in this status bar below, it says there are no changes to update, no commits to do, no changes to make. So because I haven't done anything. Now go back and click on, if this was open for you, if not, that's fine. If you go and click on the Solution Explorer, this is the one that we've just created. We have created a project called lesson1_Thursday that comes in the solution name. And inside there, this is the solution name, this is the project name, and this is the form that got created for you. This form, this is called .cs. CS stands for C#. And also, just so that you know, you're programmers, the file that gets executed when you run your program is this program.cs. Let me open it for you. And you will notice what's in this. Oh God, don't tell me. I haven't even started and I'm getting exceptions. That's strange. I can't get my control key to work. That is not good. It usually works. You just have to, it will increase the size. But what I want to bring your attention, and I'll again look at this afterwards, is this third line. Notice what it is doing. When you run your code, you'll see there is a start button up there in your toolbar. There is a start button up there. When I run, you can do it through debug also. I'll show you how to run an application. But when I run my application, by default, this file, program.cs, is executed. And in this program.cs, there is a method called main. It differs from your main in your Java, but it has a capital M. But it is a static void main method. Recollect from Java, public static void main with arguments. And then this is what is happening. It is enabling your visual styles. It is kind of rendering compatible. You can look at it, what it does, it gives with a particular size. And this is the important one that I want to show you. It's going to say create an object. So it's calling the constructor of form 1. Do you recognize this? Opening, closing brackets, form 1 is the name of your constructor. So by magic, there's no magic here, but it's because of this statement that when you run this application, and I'll show you, this form will come on the screen. So it says run, create a new form for me, call its constructor. So if I run it, if I start it, your form will come on the screen. The one that you just created. So it's building it, and after building, error while trying to run project, access is denied. Got on my laptop. What did I do now? Did I make changes to my privileges anywhere? I don't.
You can't save directly. Where you save the project, but not execute it from. It might go 5 minutes later. Look, just so it's not elevated to save the access to mine.
Yeah, but the only thing is that is a normal directory that I created, and I mean, on my laptop I should have access. It's never created a problem ever, because I just tried it with a try yesterday just to see if things were going right. So that particular directory, do you think is creating problems?
Well, you can just right-click the
Yeah.
change the attribute.
Yeah, properties.
Get rid of the read-only.
Do you think that will help, or is it something in advance that I did? No. Yeah, maybe, but why is it doing that? Oh, you know why? Because I created it through Visual Studio and not like a regular like we usually do. I think that's by default. If you create a directory, you can create any directories in Visual Studio, but that's what it is doing by default. It is making it read only. Okay, which I've never done before. I mean, I'm usually my directories are already always present, but hopefully that's the case. You have chosen to make the following attributed. Okay. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, that could be the reason. That could be no. Why is access denied in my own directory? That is strange. This is something that you see, no, this was working fine with try. It's not the read-only problem then, because this is the directory that I was trying yesterday. I wanted to see that everything was working properly. If you notice, I had created a kind of a dummy Windows application one. What else could it be, guys? What could I have done today which is not giving me access to my, which is really strange, right? It's again come to read only, but it's not that what is causing the problem. Do you want to apply this change to this folder only, or do you want to apply to all subfolders? I'm saying okay. Maybe restart it? I don't know. Doesn't make sense, but doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, that is really strange. I've never had that problem at all. And I don't think by chance did I change any settings while I was showing stuff to you. I don't remember. I don't think so. So there it is, the Thursday one. Of all the things to happen, yes.
Maybe try running like Visual Studio and Administrator.
But that is really silly, right? Isn't it? Okay. Visual Studio, where are you? That is really strange. I shouldn't be. I mean, I don't have to run it. I mean, it should. But anyway, that's going to be a big thing every time. Then anyway, I'll have to figure out why this is happening. I can't. I don't know. I can't even think of anything right out the top of my head. Like I've done 10 projects at least. Now what? No, okay, not now, maybe later. This is strange. I don't know. What else could it be, guys? Because this is not the solution. Like, as I said, I've installed it for a week now. The day I installed it, I sent you this. So it's been a while now and I've been working with it. Okay, let's try. I'm going to just try a dummy one. So before, oh no, I've definitely kind of gone and tried it. Because it was going here by default and I've changed it to the try folder. I remember I've changed it. My system is also slow today. Like it's really slow. See, things are not where they should be. There it is now. Something is not right today. I don't know. Okay. I don't like the idea at all. I'm going to give it one last try. Otherwise, I'm going to open something that was already there, which is kind of silly, but why would I have an access denied? I'm sure I've changed some setting in my options when I was talking to you guys. So this is somewhere else, right? It was just something I was trying in the try folder. Okay, so I have changed the setting. I have no clue what. Of course, I don't have a clue what did I change. Because this was a running project till yesterday night. Okay, how do I show it to you? Let me try if I can do something in my 2015. So just for today, though it's, thankfully I didn't remove it. Okay, so let's try file, new. So I'm using 2015 just for now. So notice it looks a little different, like the options are a little different, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. Let's go to the folder. If the folder is causing the problem, then we will know that, right? That is the folder that is causing the problem. But I don't think so. Anyway. In just, oh yeah, you mean when I run it?
Yeah.
But do you think it has something to do with, it will trace any? Yeah, could be. Okay, give me a minute. Let me see if something is wrong in, what do we want to call it, lesson 1? Oh, there was already one there. Okay, doesn't matter. Let's see if I can do it. I'll take care of Git afterwards then, because it's kind of, oh, I'll call it 2. But will the trace tell me if I made any changes in my?
Well, the trace should tell you what the error is, give you information about it.
But I mean, will I get some information like a property was changed and access denied? It's such a generic message. I will. Okay. Okay. Oh God, native debuggers. Okay, we try that. Let's see if I can run this one, guys.
Also try running without debugger through the taskbar.
Okay, so see, this is okay. So it's not the directory problem, right? It's not that access, there's an access problem with the directory. I saved it in the same directory. So there is some other problem that means. And the only thing that I can think of that means I did change something in my settings. Okay. Okay. So this is what is happening when you run it. Okay. So it is a little, like, as I said, it's not a major difference. So for now, without wasting your time and my time, we'll kind of go with this. And then I'll try to see what's happened in my Visual Studio 2017 of all things to happen. Okay. So now this is the form that comes up. Notice I can maximize it. That's how the maximize button works. I can resize it. I can minimize it. I can, of course, close it with this close button. And another thing that you will notice is I can also resize it this way, right? This is its border style. If you remember, it was sizable, so I can size it. Now, the first thing you should, a few things that you should kind of take care when the form comes up. When your program is executed, the form should come up in the center of the screen. Looks much neater, right? It was coming up at the corner. So we'll say, come up at the center of the screen. 2, once you've decided how your form looks and you've designed it, you don't want the user to do this and make it crappy. So we will say, you cannot change its size. Another thing that we would like to do. Definitely, we don't want to see this name form 1. We would like to have a better message, a better name, right? A few things that you notice straight away. So let's now try to do this. So this should work. The close should work. Okay. So now, so there are my, so notice this is 2015. So 2015 has the print forms and the couple of things that I needed. So I'll come back to see what it is and maybe I'll have to figure out how trace works and so on. But anyway, so what do we do? To begin with, this is the first thing I would like you to do. I would like you to change the name of your two things. I want to change this text. This is text, but I also want you to change the name of this object, which is called form1 by default. Here is its name. This is what it is called, form1.cs. So the first job you will do is you will go and change the name. You don't want to call your programs program 1, program 2, form 1, form 2. So that's why I'm changing. This is a name that you give to your .java file. Think of it that way. Okay. So .cs means C#. That's the extension. Form1 is just like a name, which is not a good name at all. So what I'll do is I'll do a right click and I'll say rename. You will notice there is a rename command. Now the conventions that we will follow throughout the semester for this class. There are a few conventions out there. You can leave the word form with it if you like. I will follow this convention because my book follows it, and 2, search is easy for me, right? I'm going to use 3 letters, FRM for form, and I'll start it with it. So for form, I'll use FRM, for label LBL, for button BTN. So as we do it for radio R, AD, so as I do it, I'll tell you what the 3-word abbreviation is, right? There is another convention also. Some people like to put the whole complete word form or button or label or radio button in their name. That's perfectly fine too. Some of them put it before, begin it with it, or some of them put it after. So when you saw form 1, it started with the word form, and the 1 was just a name they gave it, right? So you can choose when you go out into the industry as a programmer, you can choose whatever you like. I am going to stick with this convention, right? And I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to request you to stick with it so that when I give you assignments, you are saying, oh, she's asking this, but I wanted this. All my assignments will be written using this convention, the convention that I use in class. But there are 3 conventions, kind of. 1, using 3-lettered abbreviations like this at the beginning of the name. 2, using the whole name form or label or button, the name of the class. If you kind of think of it, it's the name of the class, either at the beginning of the name or at the end of the name. So in the outside world, you can choose whatever you like. I'm going to call it form. And since this is basically, as I said, this was just a welcome message I'm going to kind of do, I'll call it form welcome. Right? So I've given it a name that makes sense. I haven't called it form 1. I've called it form welcome, right? And do an enter. When you do an enter here, it will ask you that, do I change this name everywhere, wherever I've used it? Notice here how it says form1.cs, say yes. So that's your first job even before you start doing anything. Please give your file a good name, a name that makes sense. And you will notice the program.cs is here, but notice now what has happened. There is a designer file called formwelcome.designer.cs. There is this form welcome.cs, which you will see when I start building. So everything now is called like form welcome, form welcome. So in a C# wrap application that we're writing, a Windows Forms application you're writing, you will see there are 2 CS files, 2 .cs files. One, the code that you will write, right? When we start writing it, which will have your event handlers and everything. And one code, designer.cs, is automatically created by the IDE. So as you draw the GUI here, it is writing its code in the designer file for you, right? So if you double click on the designer file, which you should keep away from, but if you click on the designer file, this is what the designer file has. See, I'm not able to do anything in my Visual Studio thing, but anyway, here, right? So notice what it has said. It has said you have called your class. In Java, isn't it called public class, whatever name you give? Similarly, here it says partial class. Now, what is this partial? Partial is only telling you that your code is divided into 2 files. The designer file will contain your designer code, and the code, the event handling code that you write will go into another file, the form welcome.cs. So therefore, this file is called partial because both of them together make your form application. Okay. Then comes the reserved word class. Namespace is like your package statement, right? So your package statement is called lesson1_Thursday2 because that's what I called my project. And then comes the name of the class, form welcome. Now, that's how I'm going to name it, form in front. I leave it to you. If you want to go form, complete form, do that. Either place it at the beginning of the name or at the end, append it, whatever you like. I'll stick to this convention because textbooks follows it. All my assignments that I'm going to write will also follow, right? So that way, if it will be easy for me, I don't know what you will do. And then the rest of the things are not so important here, but they will, as I create more of my form, you will see things will get added here. It does have a method called initialize component, and look what is happening in initialize component is simply this. It has created a container. Notice how it is calling the container constructor. It has created a container, that container that you see, the form that you see. It has set that auto scale mode font. It has set its font to something, and it has set the text to its font. So this, like in your Java, the current object, and this is the property. Components is a property, is an instance variable. Okay. So is auto scale mode an instance variable. And so is text an instance variable. If we don't call them instance variables in C#, we call them properties. So it has set the text property to form1. Remember that form1 that was coming at the head. It has set the auto scale mode property to, I don't know what it means, but font is equal to 1 means something. Specifies a different type of auto scaling mode supported by Windows Form. So what does 1 mean? Control scales relative to the dimensions of the font. So depending upon the font that you use in a class, it's used a 1 enumerated. ENUM is enumerated. It is saying that it has a value of 1. You can go and look up what does font equal to 1, font equal to 2, 3, and so on mean. It's just like a library where you'll have to go like you do it in Java. This is your initialize component method that is in your designer file. Okay, keep this in mind because I'll show you where this initialize component method is called when we try to do more things. So this is the designer file for you. I would tell you to keep away from it because this is something the system is doing, the editor is doing behind the scenes for you. But since we are programmers, we can't say, oh, we don't even know what it is. I'll keep opening it for you and showing you how things are being added. You will not need to change the code in this file unless you've really messed up something in your design, right? So keep away from it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't know what it has. It is now anything that I do on my code here, anything that I do here, for example, let's start with this. Let's change the name of the form, the text property. So select your form, come to its properties on the right hand side, go to its text property and call it welcome. I'm just calling it welcome. Can't think of other good names. Here, I'm calling it welcome. I've changed its property and do an enter. As soon as you do that, it comes here. And if you go to your designer file, you will notice that it has changed it here. Right? So it's now whatever you do on your form is getting here. So there's nothing difficult about it. So what did you give the name of your form? Form welcome. What did you change the text property to? Welcome. What is the size right now? 282 by 258. So if you change the size here, you can change it like this if you like, or there is a size property here. Do you notice there is a size property here? You can change it here. It's just easier to change it here. So now if I do this and I go back in the designer, notice it has changed it here. So it's just coding what you're doing on the GUI side. The designer file is just doing the coding. So the designer.cs has the code for your GUI. Keep that in mind. It is automatically being created for you. You don't have, like, if you want to go here and do things, you can do it here too. You can go and change the size here. Instead of whatever you want to give it here, do it here, save it here. It will be reflected in your GUI. But the main aim of RAD is, leave this alone. Don't worry about this. Do your GUI. Because that's easier, right? It's quicker. Therefore, it's called rapid. So do it there and your changes will reflect here. Vice versa can be done. I won't do it. That's not the aim of what I'm trying to teach you. Okay. So now let's come back here. The other thing that we didn't like about this form was that I was able to resize it when I ran the code. So what is the property that will allow me to change a few things? Now, since I know these properties, I'll let you know. But as I said, you'll kind of know them in due course. Now, there's something called form border style. So come to the property called form border style. Makes sense? Form border, right? So you can remember it that way. It is sizable right now. When I say sizable, remember I was able to resize it. Now, if you change it from sizable to fixed single or fixed dialog or fixed 3D, whatever you like, or fixed tool window, which we are not going to use right now because it's not a tool window for us. It's just normal. You can change it here. So you can try fixed single. You can try fixed 3D. You can try fixed dialog, whatever works for you. It will do the same. It will look the same. It's just a simple form for us now. So 3D is like a 3-dimensional and the dialog box looks like a dialog box that you see in Windows. Okay. The fixed single is the easiest one to use. Change it. Now, when you do this and you run it, see the difference. You see what happens. Something is definitely wrong with my laptop. It's never ever so slow. There's something running behind the, okay, there it is. So now see, if I bring my mouse over it, I can do it. You see, there are no resizable handles. I can do this. I can even, there is a way of even kind of saying that the maximize button should be disabled. I'll show you how to do that too. Because why are you trying to do this? Because you don't want, once your form is up, you don't want people to change the size of your form because what you've placed on the form was how you wanted to build it. Right? Now, the other thing that you notice, it was occurring here. It would be nice when it starts that it comes right in the middle of the screen. It always looks better. You don't have to, but it looks better. Now, if you want to do that, there is a property called start position. There it is. Again, the name is not too bad, start position, right? And it is by default Windows default location, and that's your left hand side corner for your information. If you want to bring it to the center screen, there is a center parent also. We'll talk about parents when we have more than one forms. Right now we'll say center screen, and it will now come up in the center of the screen, right? Now, if you want to disable the maximize button, there is a property called maximize box, which is right now true, make it false. Now the button will still appear, it will not be, it will be disabled. There are two things you can do. You can remove the button altogether, and that property is called something to do with tool, I think. When I see it, I'll find it. It comes because which one?
Maximize box?
No, the maximize box, I know what it does, but you can remove the button also. What will maximize boxes do is this. See what will maximize box do. You can also run it using F5 for your information. See, so it still appears there, it is disabled. That's what has happened with maximize box false. But there is another property in which you can actually remove. It will come. You can actually remove this whole bar that you see on top. You can remove the whole thing. I forget now. Anyway, it will come back. So the minimize button has a minimize box property. If you want to disable it, you can set it. Usually people would like to see this green bar, give it a name here and see the close buttons and so on. So I didn't remove it. I think with fixed dialog, it moves away. There is a property with which you can remove this whole bar totally. You can get away with it. You don't want any buttons to appear. But what have I done now? I have placed it in the center of the screen. Remember, when I ran it, it came in this. You can move it, of course. The application, it automatically came center screen. 1. I changed the form border style to fixed. I cannot change it now, right? And 3, I disabled my maximize box. It is called this odd name box, but they called it maximize box. So these are the properties I've changed. I've changed the values of some instance variables of my object. We know that instance. How is one object different from the other? The values of the instance variables are different. So if I create another form, I can give it a different name. I will give it a different text. I can change its properties. And you can create as many forms as you like. Nothing stops. We will come to multi-form eventually, right? Okay, so the form is ready, but there is nothing on the form now. Now let's start to use some more classes. Take your toolbox and pin it here if it keeps vanishing. This is your pin bar. If you kind of unpin it, it will keep here, and every time you have to open it. If you want to pin it, you can just pin it here. It's called pinning. This is a pin like a pin, right? So you can pin it here if you like. Now let's start a few things. A few things that I want you to always do. Please see that you have your name on your form so that I can recognize it. Oh, this is Dan's form. Oh, this is Bradley's form. Like as soon as I am marking an assignment, okay? And 2, it would be nice to give a heading to the form. If forms don't have heading, you have a web form and it doesn't have a heading, you'll say, what is this form about? What is it talking about, right? So how do we put data on a form? There are a couple of ways. We'll start with the easy one, right? Not the easy one, the most obvious one. Take a label, double click on it. You can either just take it and then drag it if you want. That's one way of doing it. Or you can double click it and it will appear here. So I'm going to put my name on the right hand side corner. So I've kind of moved one label to the right. This one, I will center it and so on. Now notice they're called label 1 and label 2. If you click on one of these, again, it is an object. Label 1 is an object of type label. There is a class called label. Now with labels, we usually don't change names. We don't change names because what are labels for? Just to show something. You never use them. But if you want to start, like since this is your first program, we'll call it label heading. This is what it is called, label heading. This object is called label heading. Usually labels, we don't usually change names. Usually I'm saying. Sometimes when we have to do something. Now, what would you like to put on this? Let's go to its text property. Right now it says label 1. We'll say welcome to whatever you like. It could be welcome to class or welcome to C# or whatever. That becomes its label, right? Now, kind of small for a heading. Can we make it look like a heading? Sure. There is a property called font. Go to the font property. Open up the dialog box. Change it to bold. Change its size to 14 and say an OK. Looks like this. You're changing a property of the label. So label dot font, whatever is equal to this is what you've done. You could have done this through programming also. You could have just done it in your code. I'm just doing it here because it's easy, and then I'll show you how to also do it in code. Whatever you're doing on your form is being reflected in your designer. Go back to the designer for a minute if you want to, and see this. What is it? It has added more code in the initialize component. You created a heading. That's what it has done. It said, I am going to create a heading. Its auto size property is true. What is auto size? Depending upon what you put on it, it will automatically shrink or grow in size. So it is true. If you want to make it false, give it your own size. I'll show you how to do that. What is the font you use? Notice there is a font. You created a new system drawing font object and gave it Microsoft Sans Serif 13.8F font style bold, and so on and so forth, right? Where did you place it? It was placed at 257 and 37. So 257 is your x-axis and 37 is your y-axis. It's saying there is where you placed it. If you move it, it will also move. What did you call it? I called it label heading. What is its size? And notice how it is using objects on the right hand side. It is creating a new size object, 190,29, 190, 29 pixels, right? You will increase its size, it will change. What is its tab index? What is this tab index? We'll talk about it in a while. Tab index is when you start. Tab index 0 means this is where the focus will be when it starts. That is where it focus. Tab, how you use the tab key. We'll come to it. Don't worry about it. What did you put in the text? Welcome to C#. So whatever you did in the design has reflected here. It has reflected here. Now, how do I place it in the center? If you don't have these buttons, you can go and get them by going here and say, add these buttons for me. So I already have these buttons of center horizontal and vertical horizontal because I know I'll need them all the time. But if you don't have them, just go them and add them from here. Right, so add center horizontally, center vertically. Another one that we will need is equal. I think it's already there. Yeah, they're already here. So if you don't have these two buttons or these 4 buttons, just get them from here, right? And now select it and say center it horizontally, and it will kind of center it automatically. Yes. But you have to select the object first to make them active.
Yeah.
But do you have the center horizontally button? You may not have them at all.
Yeah, I have the buttons up there.
But is the center horizontally one present?
Yeah.
Bring your mouse over it. Is it?
Actually, no.
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 No, it's not by default. You have to add them.
Yeah, they just look the same.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying the center horizontally. I know they're not present. You have to add them. The other ones, I know what you're saying. You're saying about these buttons, right? These buttons will come up when we write text boxes. For labels, you need to just go here and add or remove your buttons and add these 2 buttons. If you don't have the make vertical spacing equal, it's grayed out right now because I don't need it right now. It's not active. It can't work on it. So see that you add center horizontally and center vertically if you don't have them, if they're not checked. I think this one will be there. Make vertical spacing equal is there, and make horizontal spacing equal. You'll see when I'll need them. Right? So these 2 are definitely not there. I know they are not. We have to add them ourselves. And the ones that will become active will depend upon what you are using. Okay? Those buttons will become active on their own. Okay? Now go to your label 2. Now its auto size property is true right now. So if you go to the auto size property, there is an auto size property right here. Notice how it is true. What does that mean? Auto size true means it will automatically take the size of the data you put in it. That's what it means. Okay, that's what the auto size property is. And it doesn't have a border. Labels don't have a border. You can give them a border, but they don't have a border by default. So that's its auto size. If you want to change it, sure, but for headings, we will not need to. We'll need to in another 5 minutes. Okay, come to your label 2 now. Please do the same thing that I did. Give it a name. And again, you'll see that I'll stop giving names to headings and names just because. What do you give names to? Something that you use. You won't use them in coding at all. Give it a name called label name. LBL for label. Give it data, your name in it. I'm saying Anju Chawla, right? And this will appear here. And if you want to change the font, again, go to the font property. Font, if you notice there is a plus here, you can actually open it here too. You can go to the different properties one by one like this, but it's just easy to kind of click here. Use the ellipses from here. If you want to make it bold italic here, and if you want to give it a different size here and do an OK. There, right? So what have I done? I've created a form object. I didn't create it. Forms it does it by default. And I've created two label objects on it. They are objects of type class label. Let's create another label. I want to create another label because I want to show something to the user. In this sense, I want to say, welcome to your first class or something, welcome to C# or whatever, right? Okay. Okay, so now take another label, double click on label again. And where will it appear? It will appear where you were last focused. So I was here on my right-hand side on my corner. So it will appear somewhere. Bring it kind of somewhere here. And now make its auto size property as false. I want you to make it auto size property as false. So go to its auto size property and say false. What that allows you to do is it allows you to do something like this. You can give it the size you want. Something like this. Okay, that's now its auto size property is false. It doesn't have a border. So if you move from it, it's gone. And by chance, if I remove the text also for whatever reason, which I will be, and if I move away now, you don't even see it. You'll say, oh, what did I do with it? How do I find it? Can I kind of go clicking everywhere? No. If you notice on your properties windows, the labels that you've created are all listed here. You've created a form welcome, you've created a label heading, you've created a label name, and you've created a label 1 that I didn't change. If you click on it, the focus will come back on it. There it is. Right? Okay, now also to this label, I'm going to give a border. I'll show you why, because I want to emphasize it. So change the border from none to whatever you like. Right? And also, before I forget, because I'm going to use this in my code, I'm going to call it label message. Why did I call it label message? I think all of us can kind of guess. I'm going to put a message in it. Therefore, I called it label message. I didn't call it label Anju. I didn't call it label Amrit. I didn't call it any nonsense name. I gave it a name that reflected its use. So the use of this label is to show a message. That's why I've done it. So this is another use of label. So one use of label is when you want to just show text to the user, like headings and your names, and you will see I'll use a little more, right? But when you want to show something to the user, you want to show a message to the user, then again, you can use two options. You can use a label if you like. You can also use a text box if you like. But text boxes are usually used for input. That's what text boxes are for. So when you want to show something, use a label object. Though text you'll see text will be much easier to use. You won't have to make the border yourself and stuff, and you will kind of say, oh, text is easy to use. And with text, you will just say read only. I cannot write into it, I can only read from it. So my third label is ready. Again, take this and center it horizontally. Now, why is now there it is taking a while now. Center horizontally so that it is in the center. Right? Now, this is what I want to do. I want to print a message in this box, which I've called label message, and so in different languages. Maybe in English, maybe in Spanish, maybe in Greece, I don't know. Because I have the Spanish version of it, so I'll use the Spanish, right? I had to look it up, but I have the Spanish version. Okay, now what do I want you to do? I want you to put 2 buttons on your form. You can put more than 3 or what else. We can do an exit also. We can do a print also if we like. We'll put more. Depends on how you want to make your interface, but interface should be good. At the end of the day, see that you create good sized interfaces, not too big, not too small. Everything should be neat, clean, clear, and where it should be visible, no cutting offs, and don't make too big interfaces where half the interface is empty. So once we create things, then we'll move things where we want them, and then we will lock it. Okay, so now I have 2 buttons. This button, we'll call it BTN for short, right? And let's call it English. So that means something in English will come on it, right? So I've called it button English. You can go to button 2. If you're changing the same property, it is easy to be at the same. I'm calling it button Spanish. I think I found out what hello world was called in Spanish. I'm going to just say hello world, okay? Anyway, so that's button Spanish. Now, what do you want to say on it? It is text property. You don't want to call it button 2 on its text. You want to give it something. So I'm going to call it Spanish, and I'm also going to create a hotkey it is called, or a key shortcut it is called on the button. And this is how I'm going to do it. For Spanish, start with an and, the ampersand sign, say S for Spanish, and then just complete it. Notice what will happen. The size is a little small. Now, when you want to change the things for two buttons together, you can, okay, please follow me. Don't look at your terminals, look at mine. For both these buttons, I want to change their size a little. I cannot see it completely. So I'm going to change it together, and this will kind of give me, I don't have to do it individually, and they're of the same size now. So when you want to do the same thing with more than one controls, select them together and do it. That way, you're not guessing. You know what I mean?
You just select them both and then change one, it'll change the other.
Automatically. That's what multi-selection is, right? And see, now this button will also have the same size, 9732, and this will also have the same size. So there are two ways. You change one and then you look at the size and change the other, or you do it together. It's easy. So why did I change it? Because I was not able to see this underline under S. Now, how did this underline, how did S got underlined? Because I said and S. I've created a shorthand keyboard key for it. So now I can either click the button to make it work. I haven't written the how will it work, or I can do a Alt S to make it work. I've created a shorthand key. Okay. Though there are more ways, but this is the easiest way. Now do the same thing with your this button. We called it button English. Please put English on it and make E the hotkey. It's called the hotkey. Okay. You can make any of the letters the hotkey. Don't give the same letter to more than one controls. You can't say, oh, this shorthand key for this button is also S, and for this button can't happen. I mean, that's not done, right? So whatever you like, as long as there is no clash, there is no ambiguity, and call it English. So now I've created two buttons. One I've said English and one I've called Spanish. I know we are running out of time. I won't be able to complete it, right? So what is my aim now? My aim is that when the user clicks the English button, right? When he clicks the English button, the hello world message comes in English here. And when the user clicks the Spanish button, the Spanish version of hello world comes here. Right? So now what do you want to do? So you've created a form, you've created some controls on it. Now you want to write an event handler for this button. Right? So let's kind of click on it and look at the events for this button, for a button object. Notice there is a click. Click is automatically kind of selected because that's the most common event handler that you write for a button. But notice there is a long list of events with the button. The most commonly one used is click, and therefore when I went to events, click was already there. Now there are a few ways to write the code. I'll show you the easiest because this is our first class. Okay. Now the easiest way to write code for a button is, for any control, is double click on it. Easiest. And what will happen is, this is the code file. This is your code file now. It has already included, using is like import in Java, right? Using is like import. So it has already said using system, and system is like your java.lang where all common things are. And it has also added a few more grayed out using statements. If you require it, if you do something in your code that requires it, it will automatically become active. But right now they're grayed out, and that's why I don't remember these names, because they're always there. In Java, you remember them because you kind of use them, right? But here they already put it for you, so you never remember them. That's why the only one I remembered was the system.windows, or the system. That's the namespace, okay? So now again, notice namespace is your package name. Your class is called form welcome, but here you notice there is a .form in front of it. And in your designer file, it didn't set .form in front of it. Where is it? Here. So this is one part of your class. Therefore, it is called partial class form welcome. And this is your second part of the class, and it is called partial class form welcome, public with it, and it says form in front of it. It is actually equal to extends form in your Java. That's what it is saying. I'm extending form, right? So that's inheritance. It extends the form class. It is an object of the, it is an object of the form class. It will take all its properties. Subclass, exactly. Let's call it subclass. That would be better to call it. Instead of calling it an object, let's call it a subclass. So the colon here is your extends in Java. Okay. Right? Okay. And after that, notice what has happened. It has written a constructor for you. And which method is it calling? That initialize component in your designer class. That's the method it is calling. And what does that method contain? It contains all the code to create your form. So there is no magic going on. The form doesn't come on its own. The program.cs creates a form object, form welcome object. When it creates a form welcome object, this code is run. This code is run. This is your form welcome.cs, right? When this is run, you know that constructor, you saw that opening closing brackets, new form, this is run. The constructor is run. What does the constructor do? Call the initialize component. What does the initialize component do? Create the form. And the form comes on the screen. And the double click that you just did, we'll have to go. The double click that you just created this, we'll talk about it next week. Okay. So now none of this has gone on Git right now, but I'll figure out, maybe forget his name. Maybe I'll see what the trace will do, but something has been done in form. So we'll complete this next week. And I'll put it on Git then, because there's nothing yet to put after I figure out what's wrong. And then you will do an assignment based on this next week. Okay, so we all know what we are doing next week. Okay, okay. Any questions or anything, email me or come and see me in my office if you like. Okay. Yes, I did. Okay, yeah, I did videotape today.
So it's kind of like just downloading
Okay.
all over again.